Chapter 2205. Two grudges, I guess. One is because of the inheritance of my cultivation technique, and the other is that he also had a conflict with me. Night Sorrow explained the dispute between him and the Heaven High Priest. The Heaven Vault tribe's development model is wrong. It's fine if they don't bully someone ruthless, but they're unlucky if they kick an iron plate. The young city lord is that iron plate. Emperor Tang shook his head. He could only say that the Heaven Vault High Priest was unlucky. There was probably no iron plate harder than Night Sorrow in the celestial realm. The grudge between me and him is nothing, but I cultivated the cultivation technique of the Heaven Monarch from the chaotic realm, so I have to help resolve the grudge of his death. Otherwise, I'll always feel guilty, Night Sorrow said. The young city lord's actions are understandable. If he didn't do it, he wouldn't have died. He asked for it. That territory is closer to the Ice Phoenix tribe. Does anyone want it? If no one wants it, the Ice Phoenix tribe will take it, Huang Ling said. Huang Ling spoke, but no one else said anything. What do you think, young city lord? Huang Ling looked at Night Sorrow and asked. The Ice Phoenix tribe can take it, but I hope that the Ice Phoenix tribe can be more lenient to the people of the Heaven Vault tribe. Whether they live well is actually my karma. Night Sorrow looked at Huang Ling and said. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Huang Ling promised that the Heaven Vault tribe would be governed by virtue. Wu Lingfei would arrange the specific matters. You know our daughter. You can rest assured now. The Heavenly Astral King said with a smile. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Thank you, Spirit Emperor and Heavenly Astral King. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at the two of them. Night Sorrow chatted with the group for a while and then left. He didn't want to disturb old friends from catching up. Origin Lord, what do you think? The Golden Dragon King asked the White Tiger tribe leader Lin Yuanjun. He has both ability and integrity, and he is decisive in killing. The 100 clans of the Celestial Realm need a human emperor like him. Lin Yuanjun had a very high opinion of Night Sorrow. As soon as Night Sorrow sat down, Aoi and Yang Lei appeared. 13. Did something happen? Looking at Aoi and Yang Lei, Night Sorrow was a little confused. He didn't understand what happened. After the Thunder Rumbling clan sent a letter of apology to the city in the sky, they declared war on the Medicine Valley. Not only the Thunder Rumbling clan, but the Yun dynasty of the Taiching domain also took action. The flames of war are already burning in Danding City, Aoi said. Aoi had just finished explaining what happened when Yun Huang and Lei Bao arrived at Night Sorrow's residence. Captain, I'm sorry. Yun Huang and Lei Bao immediately bowed in front of Night Sorrow. Lei Bao, what happened? Night Sorrow saw that Lei Bao's face was a little sad. Lei Zheng's grandson and the little princess of the Yun dynasty were beaten up by the people of the Medicine Valley. Their foundation was destroyed. Lei Bao exhaled and said, Captain, the little princess of the Yun dynasty Yun Li is my cousin's granddaughter. Every time I go back to the clan she takes me everywhere. Now she's been bullied beyond recognition. Yun Huang clenched his fists so tightly that cracking sounds could be heard. Why are two problems happening all of a sudden? Who can tell me what happened? Night Sorrow was a little confused because the situation was too serious. Yun Li went to the Thunder Rumbling clan with me as a guest and got together with Yun Zheng's grandson. When the two of them went out to travel, they met the Medicine Valley's training team. When the Medicine Valley's leader saw Yun Li, he was lustful and had a conflict. Yun Li and Lei Zhongyun were beaten up. Lei Zhongyun is Yun Zheng's grandson, Yun Huang said. Night Sorrow waved his arm and directly shattered the table in the mansion's living room. He was really angry. If it was another force, I would bring you guys to kill them right now. But I can't do it for the Medicine Valley. I really can't. Night Sorrow bowed to Yun Huang and Lei Bao apologetically. He felt very guilty. Captain, we hope that you won't stop them. We also hope that you can say hello to the Taishan Peak. This matter has nothing to do with the Taishan Peak, Lei Bao said. Ninth senior sister, you go and do this. Tell the senior brothers to give me face and not get involved in this matter. Also, tell them that I'm on the brothers' side. Night Sorrow directly expressed his attitude. Thank you, Captain. Yun Huang and Lei Bao bowed to Night Sorrow. Go. If too many people interfere, I will step in and take care of it. Night Sorrow waved his hand. He felt very uncomfortable. Yang Lei left with Lei Bao and Yun Huang. She was on the same side as Night Sorrow. At this moment, Danding City was in a stalemate. The leader of the Yun dynasty was Yun Tianlong and the leader of the Thunder Rumbling sect was Lei Zheng. Lei Zheng's body floated in the air. He closed his eyes and thought about something. He was waiting for news from Lei Bao and Yun Huang because he respected Night Sorrow. He wanted to know what Night Sorrow wanted to do. Lady, we will think of a way to make up for it. Why don't you guys leave first? Xiang Tianding said. The Medicine Valley was led by Chu Lingxiao, Xiang Tianding and Lin Jingyi. There was a huge difference in strength. The Medicine Valley was strong, but that was only if the Taishan Peak was included. With the Taishan Peak, the Medicine Valley was the #1 sect in the 9 regions world. Impossible. Lei Jing opened his eyes. Lightning snakes swam in his eyes. He was extremely angry. He was like Night Sorrow. He had high expectations for his children, but he didn't expect them to have great achievements. He only wanted them to live happily. But now something had happened. Then what do you want? Lin Jingyi looked at Lei Zheng and asked. She often trained in the celestial realm and the chaotic realm. In 1,000 years she had also reached the heavenly monarch realm. But compared to Yun Zheng she was much weaker. One of the killers, Lin Xueqing, is your clansman, right? Is this how you teach your clansmen? How dare you violate the precepts of sex? Lei Jing roared at Lin Jingyi. We will hand over the killers. Lin Jingyi said. Where are the killers? We asked for the killers for a few days. Do you think our words are nonsense? Yun Zheng was a little angry. In the city in the sky, Aoi told Gong Xian and the others about Night Sorrow's intentions. He wouldn't interfere. At this time Yun Huang and Lei Bao arrived at Danding City. Many people had gathered in Danding City. Almost all the people from the 9 regions world's commander-in-chief residence were here. Of course, the highest commander, Night Sorrow, wasn't here. After Yun Huang and Lei Bao arrived, they nodded at Lei Zheng and told him about Night Sorrow's intentions through soul telepathy. Since you don't want to hand them over, then we have no choice. We respect the Realm Lord and the Taishan Peak. We won't attack the Medicine Valley. We won't destroy Danding City either. But your Lin family's power will be gone. Destroy all the properties of the Lin family and the Dai family. Kill anyone who resists. Yun Zheng stared at Lin Jingyi and the others. He then gave the order to attack. He controlled himself. The people who hurt his grandson were the clansmen of the Lin family and the Greenstone Peak Master, Dai Tongtong. Don't regret this. Lin Jingyi's expression changed. Are you trying to scare me? Lei Jing snorted. Chapter 2206. How dare you look for the Realm Master after doing such a thing? Lei Jing waved his hand and sent an energy palm towards Lin Jingyi. He had been unhappy with her for a long time. Lin Jingyi's expression changed drastically. She didn't expect Lei Zheng to attack without warning. Moreover, she couldn't withstand the suppression of his domain. She spat out a mouthful of blood and was suppressed. Dai Tongyin was also controlled by Yun Huang's nether wolf. At this time, Aoi and Gong Xian returned. After thinking about it, Gong Xian felt that it wouldn't be good if he didn't show up as the Valley Master. He had to control the situation. As for who the culprit was and how to deal with it, that was another matter. When they saw Gong Xian, Lei Zheng and Yun Huang nodded at him. They knew that Night Sorrow, Yang Lei, Aoi, and Chuning respected Gong Xian a lot. Seeing that Dai Tongyin and the others were about to speak, Gong Xian waved his hand. Emperor Lei, Emperor Yun, I already know what happened. This time the people of Medicine Valley were in the wrong. We'll deal with it as we should. I just hope that this matter won't escalate too much. Thank you for your understanding, Valley Master. We won't do anything rash. It's just that the Lin and Dai families are too arrogant. They even dare to bully people. The cultivators of the 9 domains world are all virtuous. What have they done? What have their elders done? If the upper beam is not straight, the lower beam will be crooked. They are all responsible, Lei Jing said to Gong Xian. Look at what you've done. You've disgraced Medicine Valley. Can't you be more careful? Can't you be more righteous? Bully people? What right do you have? Based on the reputation of others? Gong Xian said bitterly as he looked at the people of Medicine Valley. Sorry for making things difficult for you, Valley Master. We only want the culprit and their clan leader to give us an explanation. We won't implicate the innocent, Lei Bao said. Thank you, Emperor Lei Bao. Gong Xian looked at Yun Huang. We naturally have to give face to you, Valley Master. It's just that the Medicine Valley is in a mess now. Yun Huang nodded. Inform the troops to retreat. We will capture them ourselves. Lei Bao said to Lei Zheng. With Gong Xian's return and Lei Bao, Lei Zheng and Yun Huang's support, the outcome of the matter was set. Everyone in the Medicine Valley is here, so I will say a few words in front of everyone. I am the Valley Master, and I have the responsibility to take care of the members of the Medicine Valley. However, I have no obligation to cover up your misdeeds. If you are unscrupulous, then you have to deal with the consequences yourself. Gong Xian's expression was very ugly. The troops from the Yun dynasty and the Thunder Rumbling School retreated. Lei Bao, Lei Zheng, Yun Huang and Yun Tianlong left. They wanted to personally go and capture those people. The battle between forces would not be carried out, but justice must be demanded. Lin Jingyi and Dai Tongyan were about to leave and visit their families, but they were stopped by Gong Xian because he had to hold a sect meeting. Looking at Aoi and Yang Lei as well as the other disciples of Taishan Peak, Lin Jingyi and Dai Tongyan didn't say anything. Dai Tongyan didn't need to say anything. He relied on his seniority to become the peak master of the Blue Stone Peak. As for Lin Jingyi, the #1 master of the Medicine Valley, it was a title that only the disciples of Taishan Peak who went out to gain experience were considered. Now that she dared to disobey Gong Xian's orders, she would be captured immediately. Chu Ning, Tang Tian, Ma Zhuang, Mo Qin and Guan Yi of the God-slaying team were all kings. The Medicine Valley's meeting was held in the square in front of the main peak. Yu Yangyu and Hua Yunpeng, who were in seclusion, were both present. Last time, because of the bad atmosphere in the Medicine Valley, it caused the Realm Master to be disappointed in the Medicine Valley. This time, because of our bad behavior, others have come to slap us in the face. Don't we want the face of the Medicine Valley? In the past, I didn't say anything because I hoped that everyone would be self-disciplined. We are all from the same sect, so we should save face for each other. But now I have to say it. First of all, there are 2 personnel appointments and removals. Lin Jingyi is removed from the position of Elder, and Dai Tongyan is removed from the position of Peak Master of the Blue Stone Peak. Second, there are punishments for the bad behavior of the people of the Medicine Valley. In the future we won't wait for others to come to our door. If we make a mistake, the Medicine Valley will kill them ourselves and slap them in the face. Gong Xian issued 2 orders, both of which had a great impact. Lin Jingyi and Dai Tongyan didn't say anything. They also knew that they had made a fool of themselves this time. If they had been honorable, they wouldn't have remained silent after Aoi and Yang Lei appeared. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. Yang Lei and Aoi's words were also effective. The sect will set up a law enforcement team with the authority to supervise the families and forces under the jurisdiction of the Medicine Valley. Gong Xian gave the 3rd order. He was now dealing with the matters of the Medicine Valley heavily. In the past, because of Night Sorrow, there were some things that were really difficult for him to deal with. Now, it was an opportunity for him to deal with the atmosphere of the Medicine Valley heavily. Eldest senior brother, if there's anything, go to the city in the sky and call us. Aoi and Yang Lei cupped their hands towards Yu Yangyu, their senior brother and junior brother before leaving. The disciples of the Medicine Valley bowed and sent the 2 elders off. They knew that if the 2 elders didn't come, today's matter would definitely be blown up. It would really make the Thunder Rumbling sect and the Yun dynasty angry. At this moment, Night Sorrow arrived at the Yun dynasty. Although Night Sorrow didn't know anyone, others knew him. They brought him to see Yun Li, whose dantian was broken and the tendons in her legs were cut. Realm Lord. Seeing Night Sorrow, Yun Li hurriedly sat up from the bed. Child, you've suffered. As an elder, I didn't do well. But don't worry, there won't be any problems with your injuries. You'll recover very soon. You have to trust me. Night Sorrow helped Yun Li sit up and said, the people that Yun Li trusts the most are the Realm Lord and Grandpa Huang. Yun Li smiled. The Grandpa Huang she was talking about was Yun Huang. Seeing Yun Li's smile, Night Sorrow's heart ached a little. The forces under the Medicine Valley being so rampant was also related to him. Come, I'll bring you to the Thunder Rumbling sect and treat your and Lei Zhongyun's injuries together. Night Sorrow bent down and carried Yun Li on his back. Realm Lord, you can't. How can a child be on your back? The Yun family was a little anxious. I'm the Realm Lord, but I'm also a human. Yun Huang and I are brothers. His descendants are my descendants. Night Sorrow carried Yun Li on his back and entered the teleportation array. After arriving at the Thunder Rumbling sect and seeing Lei Zhongyun, Night Sorrow comforted the 2 children and began to refine pills. 4 ordinary cultivators, having their dantian shattered meant that their foundation was destroyed. But for Night Sorrow, it wasn't a big problem. After 2 hours he finished refining the pills. Then, using the life force of the world's origin, he helped the 2 children repair their dantian and tendons. After Night Sorrow finished treating the 2 children's injuries, Yun Huang, Lei Bao and Lei Jing arrived. Thank you, Captain. The 3 of them bowed to Night Sorrow. You don't have to be so polite with me. I'm heartbroken that something like this happened. Naturally, I'll do what I can for the children. Night Sorrow reached out and patted Yun Li and Lei Zhongyun's shoulders. /M, The matter is settled. The main culprit and the leaders of the two families have been killed. It's been a few days. As the leaders of the families, they're too much. Lei Bao said. It's good that it's settled. Perhaps after experiencing some things, the Medicine Valley can return to its original path. Night Sorrow sighed. Chapter 2207. I won't see her. Deal with the aftermath yourself. She should understand that she took the wrong path. Under her protection, her family also took the wrong path. There's only so much affection between people. It can't be squandered. I've always wanted the best for her, but she really doesn't cherish it, said Night Sorrow. At this time, Lin Jingyi had indeed arrived in front of the heaven-sealing Great Hall. She shouted at the heaven-sealing Great Hall, but Night Sorrow ignored her. He didn't want to hide from Lin Jingyi. He just felt that there were some things that Lin Jingyi had to figure out herself. It was useless to say anything. As for how Medicine Valley punished Lin Jingyi, he didn't care. Looking at the heaven-sealing Great Hall, Lin Jingyi sighed. She knew that Night Sorrow was there. Even if he wasn't, Night Sorrow would know that she wanted to see him because he was connected to the world's origin. If he didn't appear now, it meant that he didn't want to see her. Lin Jingyi returned to Crepe Myrtle. Her position as an elder had been stripped, but she was still a disciple of Crepe Myrtle. In Crepe Myrtle's Great Hall, Lin Jingyi saw Yi Xiling and Tang Chanxian. Jingyi, what's wrong with you? Yi Xiling's eyes were full of disappointment. After last time, I made a request to my family, but they didn't take it to heart. As a result, today's incident happened. I also know that I have to bear the responsibility, said Lin Jingyi. It's good that you understand. Don't regret it only after your reputation is ruined. That would be meaningless. Don't disappoint me again. Yi Xiling sighed and left. She felt very embarrassed today. Lin Jingyi smiled bitterly. She knew that her reputation was ruined. Gong Xian didn't expel her from Medicine Valley because of the relationship between Night Sorrow and her. He left her a fig leaf. More. Seeing that Lei Zhongyun and Yun Li's conditions were stable and that there was no problem for them to recover, Night Sorrow left and returned to the commander's residence. The commander's manor was no longer in the Grand Clarity region. It was a 9-region city. Night Sorrow hadn't visited the commander's manor for a long time. Now that he was here, Xialan Jun, who was in charge of handling matters in the commander's manor, notified the others. Everyone knows about what happened in the Eastern Shen domain. This also shows that the strengthening of humanity and morality is not enough. Well, it can't be said that it's not enough. It's inevitable that cultivators will be of different levels, but this kind of thing has to be dealt with. Lord Lin Ke, arrange for Tianjin Tower to monitor the situation in this area. Those who bully men and rape women will be killed without any misgivings or consideration of their background. Night Sorrow said as he looked at Tianjin Tower. Lord Lin Daoyuan. Lin Daoyuan and Xialan Jun nodded. Tianjin Tower had been strict with itself all these years. The development of the members under their command was on the path of elites. The results were great, and they had won Night Sorrow's trust. Also, the commander's manor support for some emerging forces will continue. This is because the 9 regions world will accommodate more cultivators in the future, and the competition will be fierce. Night Sorrow looked at the members of the commander's manor and said, after everything was done, Night Sorrow returned to Sky City. Yang Lei and Aoi were back, and so were Yang Yu and Gong Xian. Master, elder senior brother is here. Don't blame me for what happened today. I really don't have the face to interfere, Night Sorrow said. 13, everyone knows what kind of person you are. They only have themselves to blame. No one will blame you. Don't think too much about it, Yang Yu said. Gong Xian also tried to persuade Night Sorrow. He knew that Night Sorrow was in the most difficult position in this matter. On one side was a brother who had gone through life and death with him, and on the other side was the sect where he came from. Neither was easy to deal with. After learning about Gong Xian's arrangement, Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that Gong Xian, who had not been very involved in the affairs of the Medicine Valley, was now going to deal with it heavily. Lin Jingyi was the strongest cultivator in the Medicine Valley, except for the Taishan Peak. Even if he had to deal with her, it showed his attitude. I've always wanted to develop the Taishan Peak well, but in fact there are some things that can't be avoided. The Medicine Valley's reputation is the Taishan Peak's reputation. No one will feel comfortable if the Medicine Valley's reputation is lost. Since this is the case, we have to deal with it ruthlessly, Gong Xian said. Let's use both the carrot and the stick. Night Sorrow, if you have nothing to do, you should go back and take a look at the Medicine Valley. It's best if the Medicine Valley doesn't go downhill, Yu Yangyu said to Night Sorrow after thinking for a while. Night Sorrow nodded. In his heart, he also didn't want the Medicine Valley to go downhill. I heard from ninth junior sister that Lin Jingyi went to the heaven-sealing Great Hall to look for you. Did she complain? Gong Xian asked with a smile. I don't know. I didn't see her. There's no need to. The truth is there. I don't want to hear what she has to say. It's meaningless. Night Sorrow shook his head. We left. The peak masters and elders of the Medicine Valley are still in a meeting. They have already changed their minds. This incident also caught everyone off guard. They can also see that other than Taishan Peak, the other peaks of the Medicine Valley together can't withstand the attack of an Emperor-level force, Yu Yangyu said. At this time, in the Great Hall of the Medicine Valley, other than Dai Tongyin, the other peak masters and elders were indeed in a meeting. Junior Sister Yi, today's facts have made us see clearly. Without Night Sorrow's support and without Taishan Peak's support, the Medicine Valley doesn't have any strength. If any Emperor-level force came to crush us, we wouldn't be able to withstand it. It's better for us to be down-to-earth in our development. At the very least, we have to stand on our moral ground, Yen Beiji said. The North Pole Peak had a rank 9 Emperor-level cultivator. Qingjun was one of them. However, he couldn't step in when the Medicine Valley had a conflict with Lei Bao, Lei Zheng, and Yun Huang. Moreover, Lei Bao and the other two only declared war on the forces that made a big mistake. They didn't attack the Medicine Valley. In the past, Lei Bao, Lei Zheng, Nan Liyue, and the others made their forces endure for the sake of friendship. Qingjun naturally couldn't ignore friendship. That's right. Bullying has happened. Who can stand out and support the Medicine Valley? No one can. It's good enough that the other forces didn't gang up on us. We have to correct our position and think. Today's incident was really embarrassing. We're ashamed to be on their side. Duan Lei also expressed his opinion. I apologize for today's incident. It's my fault. Yi Xiling stood up and said. Junior Sister Yi, please sit down first. We've known each other for more than 1,000 years. We know what kind of person you are. However, you've been a disciple of Crepe Myrtle. What happened during this period of time? If we don't change, the Medicine Valley might collapse. Who would be willing to be on the same side as the black sheep? Taishan Peak despises us now, Yen Beibei said with a bitter smile. It's not that we despise you. If we despise you, I wouldn't have come as an elder of Taishan Peak. In your words, we've done something wrong. Who can be so shameless as to cover up the shame? Tai Tsang, an elder of Taishan Peak and the junior brother of Yu Yangyu, said. It's imperative to clean up the forces under each peak. We have to go back to the way it was before. We have to return to the path of the Medicine Valley. The Medicine Valley is our Medicine Valley. It's where all of our glory lies, Xueqi said. Chapter 2208. Night Sorrow told Huang Ling about the holy nature of the World Tree. He also said that the selected people had to be chaste. Hearing this, Huang Ling was stunned. There's such a requirement? I don't know about this either. Go and ask now. Don't waste your time. Watching Huang Ling leave, Night Sorrow also knew that this request had come too suddenly. Cultivators had 7 emotions and 6 desires. Some people cultivated the heartless Tao, but very few. Most people had feelings in their hearts. They would have Tao companions and would get married to have descendants. An hour later, Huang Ling and the Heavenly Astral King arrived at Night Sorrow's residence. Huang Ling looked a little embarrassed. Young City Lord, I've embarrassed myself this time. Other than Fei, or the others can't do it. This group of people is not tight. They really don't live up to expectations. Huang Ling was a little embarrassed because the selected people did not give her any face. It's okay. Just let nature take its course. Night Sorrow smiled. This was within his expectations. It was good that they were not completely wiped out. You're still in the mood to smile? There's only one left. Huang Ling was very shocked. G=E positive R version #first eye hair. Actually, the one who succeeds is often the only one. Night Sorrow poured a cup of tea for Huang Ling. The Heavenly Astral King patted Huang Ling's shoulder. Young City Lord is right. One is enough. More are just decorations. You too. He said it's okay and you also said it's okay. Huang Ling rolled her eyes at the Heavenly Astral King. The Heavenly Astral King smiled. Night Sorrow, don't mind. Women are all like this. Night Sorrow smiled. He knew that this was a sign of a good relationship between husband and wife. After chatting for a while, the Heavenly Astral King and Huang Ling left. After leaving Night Sorrow's residence, Huang Ling said, Fortunately, Fate did well. If she didn't have chastity and the selected people were all wiped out, the two of us would really lose face. The heavenly astral king nodded. He naturally understood that if the selected people were not good, they would have wasted 30 years. They would not be able to explain this to the heavenly desolate city lord. Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea for himself. He was mentally prepared that the members chosen by the Ice Phoenix race would encounter problems. What are you thinking about? Aoi sat beside Night Sorrow. Nothing much. Did Master and eldest senior brother go back? If you don't go back, then try to persuade them to stay in Sky City for a few more days. Night Sorrow asked. Aoi shook her head. They all went back. Eldest senior brother's attitude has changed. He wants to deal with the Medicine Valley with a heavy blow. Master naturally has to support him, so they all went back together. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that some things were inevitable. In the past, Gong Xian had an attitude of letting go, but now it was time for him to act. 13. I don't like Lin Jingyi. Some of her mistakes in the past can be explained by the fact that her relationship was not smooth and she was young. However, there are some things that she has no bottom line for. If she was serious about managing the family, such things would not have happened. The Lin family, a second-rate family, is so arrogant because of her support. Don't see her in the future. Aoi looked at Night Sorrow and said, if 6th senior sister says she won't see me, then I won't see her. I will listen to 6th senior sister. She probably won't see me in the future. Night Sorrow smiled. If one asked who Night Sorrow listened to the most among his wives, it would be Aoi. Aoi rarely asked Night Sorrow for anything. Everyone thought that Aoi knew right from wrong and understood the big picture. If the Medicine Valley has really changed, we can still go back more often. I like the Bamboo Forest Pavilion and the Bamboo Forest Peak. Aoi said. Night Sorrow nodded. All right, I will go back with you when I have time. Don't take this matter to heart. Lei Bao, Lei Zheng and Yun Huang were forced into a corner. If it was me, I wouldn't have let this matter go so easily. They have already restrained themselves. Night Sorrow knew that Aoi was a sensitive woman who valued relationships. I know. Why would I blame them? The Thunder Rumbling clan was suppressed so badly by the Medicine Valley in the past and they endured it. This time they really went overboard. 6th senior sister, you understand. Aoi smiled. She knew that Night Sorrow was being considerate towards her and was afraid that she would have a knot in her heart. After that, Aoi told Night Sorrow about Yi Qingyan and Zhang Yi. She told him about the development of their relationship. She wanted Night Sorrow as a father to care more about her. 6th senior sister, I have known about this for a long time and have also noticed it. Zhang Yi has a good heart and is open-minded and kind. All these years, I have been teaching him like a child. Night Sorrow smiled. You didn't tell me anything and made me worried. Aoi glanced at Night Sorrow. Children and grandchildren have their own lives. Zhang Yi is eldest senior brother's child. It's good that we know his background. We don't have to care about their matters. Night Sorrow poured a cup of tea for Aoi and said, I am relieved that you know what to do. Here are some robes. Aoi took out a few battle robes and handed them to Night Sorrow. If you want to marry a wife, you have to find someone who loves you. Zhang Yi might not be so lucky. Your daughter is not like you in this aspect. Night Sorrow said after keeping the robes. That's not right. Women change. Once they find their other half, their thoughts will change. The most important thing is whether they love him enough. Yang Lei walked over with a pair of battle boots in her hands. Yes, look at your 9th senior sister. She used to have a big personality, but now she knows how to care for you. Aoi laughed. This is my fortune. Others can't be envious. Night Sorrow felt warm in his heart. His family was harmonious, his wife was virtuous, and his son was filial. This was what he was most grateful for. Yes, if 1 isn't enough, you can marry 2. If 2 isn't enough, you can marry 3. How can you not be blessed? Yang Lei sat down and looked at Night Sorrow with disdain. Night Sorrow didn't know how to reply. He felt a little awkward. You don't know, right? Father gave the order to the children. The boys can only marry 1. Before the girls get married, they have to make an important request. They can only marry 1 wife. Otherwise, there's no room for discussion. The Yi family girls can't marry. Mother also supports this point. Aoi laughed. Yes. I didn't do this well. I don't have the face to say this to the children. The parents made a good request. Night Sorrow rubbed his face. He had always been strict with himself, but when it came to marriage, he really didn't do it well. Seeing Night Sorrow's embarrassment, Aoi and Yang Lei both laughed. This was because only they could see Night Sorrow like this. There's one more thing I didn't tell you. We threw Ling Shi into the celestial realm. We told him not to return home until he made a few friends and brought a few close friends home. Yang Lei said. That works. That's right. Ling Shi can't always play by himself. This is a good idea. After being stunned for a moment, Night Sorrow felt that this was a good idea. We discussed it together. We asked him not to reveal his identity. This way he can have true friends and true love. Oi said. Chapter 2209. Aoi and Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow with disdain. However, they couldn't refute him because the children of the Yi clan were indeed outstanding. This was publicly acknowledged in the 9 regions world. Most importantly, they were virtuous and had inherited the Yi clan's style. The children's talent is one thing. The main thing is that they were brought up well. Of course the children were taught by you. It's all thanks to you, Night Sorrow said. These were his heartfelt words. He had always been fighting outside and didn't really care about his family and children. You didn't interact much with the children and didn't teach them verbally. However, no one taught them better than you. You are a role model in front of them. They are also strict with themselves. Aoi nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow didn't spend much time with the children. However, he was definitely a qualified father. After chatting for a while, I'm really happy. Let's go to the restaurant and have a good meal, Night Sorrow said as he stood up. Aoi and Yang Lei were also very happy. Night Sorrow's current state was very rare. Night Sorrow accompanied his wife to the restaurant in the Immortals' capital to eat. Unexpectedly, Night Sorrow met Yi Xiaoluo. Yi Xiaoluo was also drinking in the restaurant with his friends. Yi Xiaoluo wanted to greet them, but Night Sorrow and the other two turned their heads and pretended not to see them. Where were we? Yi Xiaoluo looked at his friends at the same table when he saw that his father and aunt didn't want to see him. You said 1 against 3. Continue. Let's see where you can go. A woman said. I'm serious. I'm not lying. Yi Xiaoluo pouted. 1 against 3? Forget it. It's not that interesting. His Majesty the Human Emperor defeated 5 Imperial Emperors on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge with his Emperor Realm cultivation. We'll talk about it when you can defeat 5 Imperial Emperors. Next topic. Come, let me moisten your throat first. The woman poured a cup of wine for Yi Xiaoluo. Luyu, it's boring for you to chat like this. I'm in high spirits. Do you think I'm bragging? Yi Xiaoluo said unhappily. Everyone at the table was laughing and asking Yi Xiaoluo to continue. Night Sorrow smiled at Yang Lei and Aoi. I can see that this guy is not like me, but he's living a happy life. Very good, a bunch of high-spirited kids together, this is life, Aoi said with a smile. Little guy? Any one of them is older than us, Yang Lei muttered. The truth was just as Yang Lei had said. Those who came out to train in the celestial realm and were at the same cultivation level as Yi Xiaoluo were not young. Night Sorrow's father could not even compare to them. After all, it was rare for a genius to have such achievements at such a young age. Xiaoluo, you are a cultivator from the Primal Chaos region. It is said that the human emperor used to be from the Primal Chaos region. Have you seen him before? Luyu, the woman sitting beside Yi Xiaoluo, asked. Yes, it's very common. Yi Xiaoluo nodded seriously. TSK. Sure. Everyone at the table was mocking him. Although they were mocking him, there was no disdain in their eyes. They were all joking. A bunch of bastards. How am I supposed to play? How am I supposed to drink this wine? Yi Xiaoluo slapped his forehead. He was telling the truth, but no one believed him. Aoi and Yang Lei wanted to laugh. They were really happy to see Yi Xiaoluo like this. Xiaoluo, lower your voice. Look at how quiet and civilized their table is. Pay attention to your manners. Luyu tugged at Yi Xiaoluo's sleeve. My voice is a bit loud, but you can't say that I have no manners. It doesn't sound nice. Yi Xiaoluo lowered his voice. He felt embarrassed that he was being called uncivilized in front of his father and aunt. No one else would do that except him. 6. Look at the original chapter. Night Sorrow, Aoi, and Yang Lei casually drank 2 cups of wine and had some food before leaving. Before leaving, Night Sorrow called for a waiter. Pay for that table too. That's not good. How can we do that? We have disturbed the 3 of you. Luyu stood up and said. It's nothing. It was fun listening to you guys chat. If there's a chance you guys can treat us to a meal. This is good karma. Night Sorrow smiled and nodded at Yi Xiaoluo. Young people are not bad. You are high-spirited. That's how it should be. After Night Sorrow and the other 2 left, Yi Xiaoluo and the others sat down. Those 3 are not simple. A man said. His name was Jingyu. He was the oldest person at the table and also the one with the highest cultivation. He was an emperor. His aura is extraordinary. That man's smile is like a spring breeze. It can penetrate the bottom of one's heart. Although his eyes are calm, they can see through everything. Lu Yu said. The two women are emperors. The man is even more unfathomable. He looks like an ordinary person. Can he be an ordinary person? Obviously not. Then there is another possibility. He is at least an emperor. Jing Yu said. There are only so many emperors in the celestial realm. Which one is it? Lu Yu muttered. If I say I know, you guys won't believe me. Yi Xiaoluo said. Then don't say it. 8 out of 10 sentences are unreliable. Fortunately, he is reliable. Otherwise. Lu Yu looked at Yi Xiaoluo with disdain. In the eyes of the group, Yi Xiaoluo was righteous and sincere to his friends. However, they did not listen to him. Yi Xiaoluo sighed in his heart. He really knew, but no one would believe him. There were some things he did not want to say. He did not want their friendship to become impure. The group of them did not care about family background. They only cared about personal relationships. We are done eating and drinking. We have to continue. We still have to dig out more spies from the Demon Wing race. In addition, I plan to join the Heaven Wasteland Army. I don't know what you guys think. We will have fewer chances to meet in the future. Jing Yu said. I have to consider this. I have to ask the elders. Yi Xiaoluo said softly. I have to ask the elders too. Lu Yu looked at Jing Yu and Yi Xiaoluo and said. Don't worry. We have communication crystals. We can meet at any time. Even if we are separated, we can send a message if anything happens. Brothers, friends, this is for life. Another man said. His name was Langley. He was the first to know Yi Xiaoluo. How do you feel seeing your son like this? After leaving the restaurant, Yang Lei laughed and asked. Interesting. It's good. Night Sorrow also laughed. He felt that this was real life. Lingxi will be like this in the future. Always said. She knew that Night Sorrow was most worried about Yi Lingxi. As for Yi Xiaoke, he was just a little tyrant. He lived in the Ethereal Empire. That was his mother's territory. Night Sorrow, Aoi, and Yang Lei only went to the Divine Capital for a drink before returning to the Heaven Wasteland City. His cultivation realm and combat skills had reached a bottleneck. Night Sorrow's life was quiet. On Night Sorrow's day he met Pu Luo. Alliance Master, Lu Qi has successfully entered the tribulation of the 6 emperors. He wants to celebrate. Shall we go to his Lu family manor later? Pu Luo brought news of Lu Qi. Chapter 22:10. Of course we have to prepare some gifts. Night Sorrow nodded. Lu Qi had helped protect Xingyue City for so long, so he was very grateful. Okay, I'll go ask the Great Demon King and the others. If you want to go, we'll go together. Pu Luo said. After sending Pu Luo off, Night Sorrow took out 100 Monarch Spirit Stones and 2 Emperor Spirit Stones and put them away. He didn't need to think too much about it. Using Spirit Stones was the most practical way. The Lu family manor is very famous in the celestial realm. However, I've never heard of a disciple of the Lu family traveling in the celestial realm. Lin Piao Miao, who had been in the manor, said. Maybe it's like our family. The disciples of the family don't report their background when they go out. They rely on their own abilities. Yang Lei smiled. Some families were like that. Night Sorrow and the others nodded. They all supported Yang Lei's point of view. Then let's wait for the news from Pu Luo's side and go there together. A tribulation of the 6 emperors has appeared among the 100 clans of the Heaven Realm. This is great news, Yi Shang said. He was very happy to hear this news. Pu Luo returned quickly. He still had some things to do with the Great Demon King. He would go with the Great Demon King Yu Zhu and Ruisi later. He wouldn't go with Night Sorrow. You guys go. I have to watch the Divine Devil Castle and see if there's any news from the Demon Winged clan. You can represent me. Lin Piao Miao said. She had a lot of things to do now. Night Sorrow nodded. Everyone knew that Lin Piao Miao was busy. Lu Qi didn't mind. After preparing the gifts, Night Sorrow took Aoi and Yang Lei to the teleportation array and set off. 4 hours later, the 3 of them arrived at Lu Qi's family territory. Because of Lu Qi, the Lu family was a famous family in the celestial realm. However, they didn't have much contact with other forces. It was a quiet and peaceful area. Lu Qi lived in a simple place called the Lu family manor. However, the manor was very big. The direct descendants of the Lu family all lived here. Night Sorrow and the other 2 arrived at the Lu family manor's teleportation array. As they enjoyed the scenery along the way, Yi Shang and the other 2 arrived at the entrance of the Lu clan's manor. Lu Qi was already waiting. Both he and Yi Shang were mid-stage Imperial Tribulation cultivators, so they could sense each other's aura. He could also identify Yi Shang's aura. Young city lord, you're so busy but you still came. Please come in. I have to drink with you and the two young madams today. Seeing Yi Shang grow up and reach the middle stage of the four-emperor tribulation, Lu Qi was very pleased. After entering the manor, Lu Qi took the three of them to a quiet courtyard. Lu Yu, take out the great ancestors' good tea to entertain the guests. A woman came out with a pot of tea. Seeing Yi Shang and the other two, the woman was stunned. Yi Shang was also stunned because she was the one who was drinking with Yi Xiaoluo at the same table. Why are you three here? Lu Yu said after being stunned. What do you mean you three? Don't be rude. Hurry up and greet the human emperor and his two wives. Young city lord, please don't be offended. Lu Qi glared at Lu Yu. Lu Yu greets the three lords. Yi Xiaoluo, this scoundrel, really knows how to swindle people. How dare he say he's seen the mortal emperor? That day, the mortal emperor was right in front of him, and he didn't even recognize him. Yi Xiaoluo? Young city lord, isn't that your family's fourth brother? Lu Qi was a little confused. He looked at Knight Sorrow and then at his great-grandson Lu Yu. He had stayed in Xingyue City for a long time and knew Yi Xiaoluo. Seventh sect elder, you must be joking. Our family's children don't talk about their background and family matters when they go out to train. This way they can have true friends and find Dao companions in the future. Their feelings will be pure. I support this. That day Xiaoluo was drinking with his friends. I met him by chance and didn't let him say hello. You're Lu Yu, right? You can't blame Xiaoluo for this. Knight Sorrow said with a smile. That's too abrupt. I'm familiar with Xiaoluo. I didn't mean to scold him. Lu Yu was a little embarrassed. Scolding a child in front of his parents was a little unreasonable. T latest chapter Boo Festival %2 it's nothing. As his father, I support him to have his own life. He can't be influenced by his elders. I believe that your circle doesn't know that you're a descendant of the seventh sect elder, right? Knight Sorrow shook his head. Lu Yu nodded. She also never said that she was a descendant of the Lu family manor. The two of us have the same view. Our achievements are the result of our own hard work. We can protect the future generations from being bullied, but that is not the right for them to flaunt their prowess. Lu Qi nodded. Your Majesty and great ancestor, your realms are too high. Only now do I realize that Xiaoluo is telling the truth most of the time. We're a bunch of fools. We all thought that he was bragging. Lu Yu was still cursing Yi Xiaoluo in her heart because this made her lose face. Now that you know, it doesn't affect anything. No matter what you do, it's important to have a good start. In the celestial realm, I admire the children of the Yi family the most. Every one of them is so outstanding. The Yi family was the biggest winner in the Heaven, Earth, Human, and Monarch ranking assembly. Lu Qi gave Knight Sorrow a thumbs up. Seventh sect elder, you're too kind. The Yi family is a new family. There's still a long way to go. Knight Sorrow said. You can see the future by looking at the present. The Yi family is virtuous and has a good family style. This is the inheritance. Lu Qi said. Then Lu Qi apologized. In order to improve his realm and cultivation, he left the Tianhuang city and the sect elder's stall. Knight Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao had to work hard to take over. Seventh sect elder is too polite. This is a small gift to congratulate seventh sect elder. Knight Sorrow took out the gift. Great ancestor, take a look at what his majesty gave. Lu Yu was very interested in Knight Sorrow's gift. Lu Qi glared at Lu Yu. It was very impolite to open a gift in front of a guest. I'm a careless person and don't know how to choose a gift. I just took some high-level spirit stones. I hope it will help seventh sect elder. Knight Sorrow smiled. He felt that Lu Yu was not bad. She was not pretentious and said whatever she wanted. After looking at the gift, Lu Qi shook his head. The young city lord is in charge of the Tianhuang city. There are many places that need this. I can't accept it. Knight Sorrow said that he still had more. Only then did Lu Qi reluctantly accept it. His Majesty, I want a gift too. Lu Yu shouted. Knight Sorrow rubbed his forehead and looked at his two wives. I didn't prepare anything. What's suitable? You bastard girl. You're getting more and more out of hand. I love you the most in the family. You're going to turn the world upside down. Lu Qi looked at Lu Yu and laughed. He knew that Knight Sorrow wouldn't mind. I heard that His Majesty is an emperor-level blacksmith. I want a weapon. It doesn't matter if the weapon is good or bad. It's fine as long as it has His Majesty's signature. The most important thing is the words. Lu Yu said. In fact, she didn't care about the gift at all. What she wanted was Knight Sorrow's signature. Chapter 22:11. Even if your majesty knows, don't say it out loud. It's too awkward. Lu Yu said with a smile, but she didn't feel awkward at all. Then I'll make it for you. Night Sorrow nodded and began to search for the materials. Bastard girl, hurry up and make tea. In addition, go and take the 2 jars of wine that the great ancestor treasures and arrange for the servants to prepare the dishes. After Lu Qi chased Lu Yu away, he looked at Night Sorrow with an embarrassed expression. He hadn't expected Lu Yu's move. Night Sorrow nodded at Lu Qi and took out the Clear Sky Pagoda. He entered the Clear Sky Pagoda and began to forge the weapon in the time acceleration. He didn't need to ask Lu Yu for anything. Lu Yu had a sword at her waist and Night Sorrow could see her attributes. That was enough. Half an hour later, Night Sorrow appeared with a long sword. Lu Qi was talking to Aoi and Yang Lei while Lu Yu was listening. Seeing Night Sorrow come out and the long sword in his hand, Lu Yu's eyes were filled with excitement. It should suit you. See if you like it. I haven't forged weapons in a long time. Night Sorrow handed the weapon to Lu Yu. At this moment, Lu Yu carefully tidied her robes and bent down to receive the sword with both hands, showing her sincerity. Extreme to the sword, extreme to the Tao. Very good. I hope this weapon will be of use to you. Night Sorrow placed the sword in Lu Yu's hand. Lu Yu was a little presumptuous today. I hope your majesty and the 2 madams won't take offense. Lu Yu will pour wine to apologize later. Lu Yu bowed to Night Sorrow. He won't. Yi Shan shook his head. Lu Yu, you have to remember that the Yi family doesn't lack magnanimity. Otherwise, great ancestor would have coaxed you out. Lu Qi looked at Lu Yu and said. Lu Yu nodded. She understood some things. G++ version 2M. After the banquet was set, Lu Yu poured some wine but didn't sit at the table. She knew the difference between the young and the old, which was also the upbringing of the Lu family. 7th Elder let Lu Yu sit down. This isn't appropriate. You don't have to treat us as guests, just treat us as family, Night Sorrow said. He couldn't say how the Yi clan behaved normally because this was the Lu clan. Lu Qi nodded to Lu Yu and asked her to sit down. Lu Yu, great ancestor has something to say today. You were able to meet his majesty because of good karma. You must cherish this good karma and do your best. Great ancestor thinks highly of you and the Lu family. Lu Yu stood up and bowed to Lu Qi and Night Sorrow. Lu Yu will remember this. I hope your majesty can give me some pointers in the future. Night Sorrow gestured for Lu Yu to sit down. You and Xiao Luo are friends. If Xiao Luo has any shortcomings, you should give him some advice. While chatting, Lu Yu asked Lu Qi if she could join the Heaven Wasteland Army. Lu Qi objected. He explained his point of view in front of Night Sorrow. He felt that serving the Celestial Realm's 100 races didn't necessarily mean that she had to join the Heaven Wasteland Army. Lu Yu was in the cultivation stage and it was most important to improve her cultivation first. The Celestial Realm's forces needed young people to continue. Xiao Luo wants to join. Does your majesty agree? Lu Yu looked at Night Sorrow and asked. I think he's also in the cultivation stage. There's no point in rushing to join the Heaven Wasteland Army. If there's a war he can fight at any time. If he's not part of the Heaven Wasteland Army he can't fight? Of course this is only my opinion. He can make his own decision, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. After hearing Lu Qi and Night Sorrow's words, Lu Yu gave up the idea of joining the Heaven Wasteland Army immediately. She was sure that Lu Qi and Night Sorrow both had a big picture view and their views couldn't be wrong. After staying in the Lu family's manor for a day, Night Sorrow left with Yang Lei and Aoi. 13. Is Xiao Luo's matter also mostly resolved? Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Ninth senior sister, you're thinking too far ahead. They have a good relationship but I can't say for sure. Let's just let nature take its course. Night Sorrow smiled. After Night Sorrow left, Lu Qi began to lecture Lu Yu. He hoped that Lu Yu wouldn't tell the others about Yi Xiaoluo's background. What happened in the past, what will happen in the future. However, he emphasized that the Yi family was sincere. They could be trusted and could be friends with them. After promising Lu Qi, Lu Yu took the weapon Night Sorrow gave her and left the Lu family's manor. What was she going to do? Naturally, she was going to show off to Yi Xiaoluo. After returning to the Tianhuang city, Night Sorrow began to cultivate. In less than 2 years he would go to the ancient world. The world tree was a supreme treasure, and the 100 races of the celestial realm wanted it. In addition, if he could get the world tree and if he and Mo Chenji contributed greatly, he would tell the elders that he wanted to put his hopes in Xingyue City. He also had to consider the 9 domains world. Night Sorrow also planned to talk to Tran Hung and King Yowu about this. Of course, the premise was that he could get the world tree. While his doppelganger was cultivating, Night Sorrow only cultivated the Heaven Attraction chant. As for the primordial destruction / Night Sorrow still didn't feel anything. He also knew the reason. It was because the level of the infinity attribute was low, and there was a gap between it and the other attributes. In other words, the bottleneck of his infinity attribute was the bottleneck of the taboo attribute. It was also the bottleneck for the primordial destruction / to reach perfection. Night Sorrow's primordial destruction / was already very powerful. Apart from the Heaven Attraction chant, which consumed a lot of soul power, it was his strongest combat skill. However, he pursued perfection and hadn't reached it yet. There was a fundamental difference between the primordial destruction / and the Heaven Attraction chant. The Heaven Attraction chant was slow to activate and consumed a lot of soul power. It was a big move that was ready to be used. On the other hand, the primordial destruction / was a combat skill that could be used at any time and could be used continuously. This was also the reason why Night Sorrow had been pursuing perfection. A combat skill that could be used continuously was the support for a long battle. After 2 months, Mo Yuqing felt that things were stable. She wanted to move on to the next step, which was to send out spies to scout the realms next to the 100 races of the celestial realm. Since she couldn't take down the 9 domains world, then Mo Yuqing also wanted to develop. She planned to first find a domain to use as a base for development. This way the Demon Wing clan would also have a foundation in the celestial realm. There was also a domain next to Heaven Wasteland domain, but there was only one. At present, the Demon Wing clan was developing, and the other was close to Heaven Wasteland domain. These 2 domains couldn't enter the celestial realm. If they occupied the domain next to the celestial realm, then the Demon Wing clan would have no problem developing or waging war. After sending out the spies, Mo Yuqing once again looked at the information in her hands, her eyes full of annoyance. It was all information about Night Sorrow which was collected some time ago. She also had the information that Night Sorrow had entered the intermediate Emperor Tribulation level. This was the reason why she was so annoyed. She had worked very hard to cultivate, but the result was that she was 2 levels behind Night Sorrow. The City Lord of Heaven Wasteland domain, Tran Hung, had returned to Heaven Wasteland City. Some things had been investigated clearly. He couldn't get close to the World Tree, and had to proceed according to the original plan. After listening to Night Sorrow's words, Tran Hung knew that there was only one person chosen by the Ice Phoenix race. He was also helpless. City Lord, Mo Tianji's intelligence is also not bad. If we don't have any objections, I can bring her along when the time comes, Night Sorrow said. Chapter 22:12. Request. If we succeed in obtaining the World Tree, she hopes, or rather, she and I both hope that the World Tree can be placed in Starmoon City so that both the 9-domain world and the Celestial Realm can benefit, Night Sorrow said. That's reasonable. In addition, only those who can approach the World Tree and recognize it will have an effect. Other people's requests are useless. Among the 3 possible people, you and her are more likely than Wu Lingfei. Wu Lingfei is also from the 9-domain world. Besides, if the World Tree is placed in Starmoon City, it will still be in the Celestial Realm. It won't affect the future of the Celestial Realm. Tran Hung explained his attitude and the stakes. In other words, no matter who controls the World Tree, it would be useless even if others wanted to interfere. Tran Hung asked about Night Sorrow's cultivation situation. He was not stingy with his guidance. He hoped that Night Sorrow would rise as soon as possible. Night Sorrow explained the current situation. The cultivation of the realm can only be done slowly. As for the bottleneck of the peerless attribute, it requires an opportunity or a flash of inspiration. Others can't help you. But you're good. In such a short time, you've cultivated the taboo attribute to the peak of the high level. One more step and you'll be a top-level taboo attribute. I'm looking forward to it. Tran Hung nodded to Night Sorrow. Tran Hung also specialized in the taboo attribute. But after countless years, the destruction and peerless attributes were complete. The space attribute could not be raised, so the taboo attribute's level was relatively low. After chatting with Night Sorrow for a while, Tran Hung went to Yawo Mountain. He had some things to discuss with King Yawo. Night Sorrow knew that there was no point in going into seclusion. What he lacked was actual combat and opportunities. He felt that going to the ancient world might be an opportunity. 2 months later, after evading several pursuits of the members of the Fiend God Castle of the Celestial Realm, Dark Feather Qing led people into the Tianjiang domain, which was the domain once ruled by the Yuanji family. Later, Ma Qian II of the Demon Wing clan had joined forces with Yuanji, but was eradicated by the ethereal imperial court. This was recorded in the Demon Wing clan, so some of Mo Yuching's plans went smoothly. He occupied the Sky General Domain, destroyed the original transmission array, and built a new transmission array. Most J-New-B Chapter Supra KW1 end of the new teleportation array was in an extremely hidden place in the celestial realm, and the other end was a teleportation array controlled by the Demon Wing clan in the Heavenfall domain. As soon as the teleportation portal was destroyed, the Ethereal Dynasty knew about it. However, the teleportation portal became a one-way portal. The Demon Winged clan could enter and leave, but the people of the celestial realm could not. The situation was the same as the last time when Matian II and UNG joined forces. Unless they dug out the location of the Demon Wing clan's teleportation portal in the celestial realm, it was undoubtedly like looking for a needle in a haystack. It was extremely difficult. Night Sorrow, Lin Piamiao, Yang Lei and Aoi arrived at the ethereal imperial court. After listening to the report, Night Sorrow shook his head helplessly. It doesn't matter. Later I'll ask Tran Hung how to enter the foreign domain, or if Tran Hung has a way. Even if we can enter, it will be very troublesome. This time the Demon Wing clan is very cautious or even good at scheming. There are doppelgangers of our people who reported the situation. The teleportation portal was destroyed by the Demon Wing clan, but we only saw a member of the Demon Wing clan once. They are also developing in the dark in the Heavenfall domain. Even if we enter, we may not be able to catch them, Lin Piamiao said. This is my fault. I didn't guard it well enough. Luo Yuandao stood up and apologized. He was responsible for most of the matters in the Heavenfall domain. This is not your fault. They have been scheming. They can find any loophole they want. Pay attention to the defense of other areas. Don't let them sneak attack you. In addition, investigate the other domains near our ethereal dynasty and give me a copy of the distribution map. Night Sorrow shook his head. He knew that no one was to blame for this. When the Demon Wing clan was sincere in scheming, some places could not be guarded. Luo Yuandao and Elder Nalan nodded. They were waiting to be scolded, but Night Sorrow and Lin Piamiao did not say anything harsh. After giving some instructions, Night Sorrow and Lin Piamiao left the City Lord's mansion. After sending Yang Lei and Aoi to the teleportation portal back to the 9-domain world, the two of them communicated as they teleported to Tianhuang City. Night Sorrow, this is really unavoidable. Not all domains can be as impregnable as the 9-domain world. Our cultivators are too weak compared to their elite team, Lin Piamiao said. I understand. Now let's see how to solve this matter. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew how much effort he had put into the defense of the 9-domain world and Xinhua City. When they arrived at Tianhuang City, Night Sorrow went to Tran Hung's 9 Dragons Cauldron. When Night Sorrow arrived, Tran Hung appeared. The two of them entered a small space in the 9 Dragons Cauldron. Night Sorrow and Tran Hung had absolute trust in each other. Night Sorrow could control the Tianhuang Pagoda, and he had no qualms about letting others in because he trusted him. Night Sorrow told Tran Hung about the situation in the Tianjiang domain and asked Tran Hung if there was any way to solve it. Yes, some world origins will control the spatial barrier to exclude cultivators above the king level from entering, but it's not absolute. It's not difficult to break through the world's barrier when one's spirit and mind are integrated into heaven and earth. The difficult part is to find the location in the spatial turbulence. The Tianjiang domain and celestial realm use king-grade teleportation stones, so the distance shouldn't be too far. For this matter, let the Misty Empire's men in the Tianjiang domain investigate them. If there are any clues, spend some effort to deal with them. Mo Zhantian should know about this too. Tran Hung said. So that's the case. That means the world's barrier can't stop cultivators above the Divine Soul Unity realm from entering. The 9-domain world has to take note of this too. Night Sorrow was shocked. Don't worry, I'm talking about ownerless, low-level spatial worlds. The 9-domain world has you as the realm lord, but cultivators above the Divine Soul Unity realm won't be able to enter. Tran Hung reassured Night Sorrow. After hearing Tran Hung's words, Night Sorrow heaved a sigh of relief. If they couldn't prevent cultivators above the Divine Soul Unity realm from entering, then the defense of Starmoon City and 9-domain city would be ineffective. Also, you're now the virtuous emperor. If you have the virtuous fire to protect you, the barrier of the spatial world should be ineffective against you. You can try it if you have the chance. Tran Hung said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow really didn't know about this. Now that he understood the main points, he felt that the Tianjiang domain wasn't a big problem. At the very least, the devil-winged race wouldn't be able to occupy it. Tran Hung told Night Sorrow that he would go to the Tianjiang domain later to set up a secret teleportation array. He would activate it whenever he needed it. After Mo Yuqing led the troops into the Tianjiang domain, she reported the situation to Mo Zhantian. Mo Zhantian rejected her action because it was untenable. There were at least 2 people in the celestial realm who could break through the world's barrier. Tran Hung and King Yewu could do it. Therefore they still had to hide their tracks. This was also the main reason why the troops of the Ethereal Empire couldn't find them in the Tianjiang domain. Chapter 22:13. Thinking of the 9 domains world, Dark Feather felt a strong sense of powerlessness. Because the defense of the 9 domains world was too tight, whether it was from the inside to the outside, or the control of the people coming in and out, it had reached the point where she could not do anything. Without a plan for the next step, Dark Feather could only stand firm in the dark. In addition, he also made a plan to leave the Heavenly General Domain if there was any danger, use the Heavenly General Domain as a cover to attract the attention of the people of the Heavenly Realm, and then go elsewhere to develop. After thinking about the problem, Night Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao's original body stayed in the Heaven Wasteland City, while the 2 clones returned to the Night Moon Villa of the Ethereal Imperial Court, because this was the fastest way to get the news. When the 2 returned in the Night Moon Villa, the 2 brothers Yi Xiaoluo and Yi Xiaoke were drinking. Seeing that Night Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao had returned, the 2 hurriedly got up to greet them. "You 2 brothers are very comfortable." After Night Sorrow sat down, he waved his hand to let the 2 sit down, and then asked about Yi Xiaoke's cultivation. "Lord Father, you're wrong too. I'm already so old and I haven't seen you refine any weapons or armor for me. You've refined them for others and slapped me in the face." Yi Xiaoluo said. "Bastard boy, no one has said that your father is wrong in front of your father." Lin Piaomiao reached out and knocked Yi Xiaoluo on the head. "Ah! Father and your 2 concubines went to the Lu family villa as guests and saw Lu Yu. Since it's good karma, I gave her a gift. Men should be more tolerant. It's not a bad thing to be joked about and slapped in the face." Night Sorrow explained to his son with a smile. "Xiaoluo knows, I just wanted to find a topic to chat with father and concubines." Yi Xiaoluo said with a smile. "You child." Lin Piaomiao shook her head. Yi Xiaoluo was like this, it was also his character. Then Yi Xiaoluo said that he originally wanted to join the Heaven Wasteland Army, but after hearing Lu Yu's words, he dismissed the idea. "Xiaoke, when you are free, go out with your 4th brother for a walk. Don't just stay in the Misty Dynasty. You are the 4th brother and you are doing very well." Lin Piaomiao looked at her son and said, "No, I still have to wait. With my cultivation level, I'll be easily bullied if I go out. It's a small matter if I get bullied, but it's a big matter if I embarrass you and father," said Yi Xiaoke. "If you don't tell us, who will know that you are our son? It's not us who will be embarrassed. If you're afraid of being embarrassed, then work harder." Lin Piaomiao glared at Yi Xiaoke. Yi Xiaoke wanted to say something but he swallowed it back. Lin Piaomiao was very strict with him. "Little Luo, it's good to have some precautions when making friends. But once you become friends, there's no need to deliberately hide it. If you have friends, you can bring them home. This isn't showing off, it's sincerity. Your mother, your aunts and I all support you. Besides, father can tell at a glance what kind of person a friend is," Night Sorrow said. "Little Luo understands. But if little Luo feels that it's necessary, then we'll talk about it. For now there's no need." Yi Xiaoluo naturally understood what Night Sorrow meant. He could help him check. Just as the family was chatting, Tran Hung came. "We're chatting as a family. I'll set up a teleportation array here. Then I'll set up another one at the Tianjiang domain. After the connection is completed, we'll activate it whenever we need it. Thank you for your hard work, City Lord." Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Tran Hung. Then he began to set up the teleportation array. Naturally, he couldn't let Tran Hung do it personally. After the teleportation array was set up, Tran Hung inserted a top-notch rank 8 teleportation crystal and left. She was going to proceed with the next step. Night Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao stayed in the Night Moon Villa. Yi Xiaoluo brought his brother Yi Xiaoke out. He received a notice from the team that they were going on an adventure. Night Sorrow wouldn't stop such a thing. Half a month later, Tran Hung came back through the teleportation array. It's set up in a large canyon. There's no problem with its safety. It can be activated at any time. I'll go back now. When the spiritual woman from the Ice Phoenix race comes out of seclusion, I'll inform you. We'll head to the ancient world. After sending off Tran Hung, Night Sorrow prepared for the upcoming expedition to the ancient world. On this day, Night Sorrow, who was meditating with his eyes closed, suddenly opened his eyes. His body flashed and stood outside the teleportation array. Lin Piaomiao also arrived because they saw Yi Xiaoke, whose robes were covered in blood. Father, mother, hurry up and save them. Save my fourth brother and the others. They're in danger now. Yi Xiaoke didn't care about his injuries and anxiously shouted to Night Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao. Let's go. Night Sorrow wrapped Lin Piaomiao and Yi Xiaoke with energy and entered the teleportation array. Yi Xiaoke led the way and teleported. He also told Night Sorrow about the situation. Yi Xiaoluo received a notice from the team. Their group followed the other training teams into an alternate dimension. Not long after they entered, they were surrounded and attacked by the foreign races. The other teams all died. Because Jingyu, Lang Li, Luyu, and Yi Xiaoluo's combat strength were relatively good, they didn't die on the spot. They tried their best to stop them and only then did Yi Xiaoke come back to report. +2 go fast +2 bulsh * T alternate dimension. I don't know which foreign world this is. Lin Piaomiao cursed. Because there were almost no strong experts in the alternate dimension, it was impossible to injure Yi Xiaoluo and the others. It was definitely the power of the foreign world. Night Sorrow increased the energy to activate the teleportation array's teleportation crystal. 2 hours later, they arrived at the entrance of the foreign world. He let Lin Piaomiao guard the entrance and take care of Yi Xiaoke. He entered the spatial tunnel and flew in the direction Yi Xiaoke said. At this moment, in a mountainous area of the foreign world, Yi Xiaoluo, Jingyu, Lang Li, Luyu, and a cultivator called Kiki were surrounded and attacked. They were all seriously injured. Brothers and sisters, this time it's my fault. I brought everyone to a dangerous place. There's a chance, retreat. Let's be brothers again in the next life. Jingyu didn't care about his own safety as he fought with the foreign races who had scales on their faces. Ah, Jingyu, there's no meaning in saying that. Since we're brothers, let's fight together. If we die in battle, we'll walk side by side on the road to hell. Yi Xiaoluo laughed loudly. There was a big hole in his chest that kept bleeding, but his aura wasn't weak at all. He didn't have any regrets because he had sent his younger brother away and could answer to his parents and aunt. Xiaoluo, you're heroic. If you can survive this time, I won't hurt you anymore. Luyu said. Yi Xiaoluo's most serious injury was paid for her. Xiaoluo, you have the greatest potential. If there's a chance, take Luyu with you. Lang Li also shouted. He and Yi Xiaoluo were sworn brothers and their relationship was the deepest. All of you will die. At this moment, a man in battle armor appeared. Chapter 22:14. Yi Xiaoluo knew that after his brother escaped, he would definitely inform his father and aunt to come. As long as one of them came, the crisis would be resolved. At this moment, Night Sorrow's flying speed in the alternate dimension had increased to the maximum. It was almost like teleportation. He knew that if he could buy more time, Yi Xiaoluo would be in less danger. If he was slow, Yi Xiaoluo would die easily. Night Sorrow also cursed. Yi Xiaoluo had not shattered his soul crystal yet. He could only search according to the general direction and deduced from the battlefield and traces. The distance was too far and they were in an alternate dimension. He could not shatter the soul crystal on Yi Xiaoluo's body. After flying for a while, Night Sorrow sensed the aura of his soul crystal and immediately increased his speed. Jingyu and the others were in a worse situation. The 5 of them were suppressed and retreated together. Yi Xiaoluo's chest was pierced and his left arm was twisted strangely. Half of Jingyu's neck was broken and Lang Li was standing there with one leg. What are you guys doing? I didn't expect our Scarlet Sky Realm to be so close to the Supreme World. You guys are the first battle of our Scarlet Sky Realm. The man in armor appeared in front of all the foreign race warriors in a flash. Damn, I can't see his cultivation. I can't help dying in the hands of the Emperor. Jingyu said. He was helpless and had to accept his fate because the difference was too big. You bully us because our cultivation is low. My father or Aunt Lin can crush a piece of trash like you. Yi Xiaoluo wiped his mouth and said, Brother, the Emperor is not easy to deal with. Lang Li said with a bitter smile. The Emperor was too strong in front of them. I believe Xiaoluo's words. Luyu said. She knew Yi Xiaoluo's background. Not only was Night Sorrow strong, Lin Piaomiao's strength was also known by everyone in the celestial realm. Don't talk about my father and aunt. Even a random uncle would be able to peel off his skin. Damn it, Ba. Yi Xiaoluo spat out a mouthful of bloody saliva. Shameless boasting. Die first. The man in armor waved his battle blade and charged towards Yi Xiaoluo. The world's energy vibrated as a blood-red spear tore through the sky, arriving before Yi Xiaoluo. The end of the spear trembled constantly, causing the space's energy to vibrate and resonate with it. The armored man hurriedly retreated. He didn't know what was going on. He didn't boast shamelessly. You don't have the right to kill him. Night Sorrow arrived. His white robes fluttered as he casually took a step forward and arrived in front of Yi Xiaoluo and the others. Sir. Seeing Night Sorrow's arrival, Jingyu, Langli, and Kiki, who had seen Night Sorrow before, all nodded in greeting. Sorry, Xiaoluo has embarrassed you. Yi Xiaoluo said in a low voice. What's so embarrassing about it? Night Sorrow nodded at Yi Xiaoluo. It doesn't matter if you lose. As long as you have the courage, it's fine. We, the children of the Yi clan, should know shame and be brave. Yi Xiaoluo bowed. His heart was very warm. His father had arrived at the crucial moment. He didn't say any harsh words and only supported him. Who are you? The Scarlet Night Kingdom soldier commander looked at Night Sorrow with vigilance. He couldn't see through Night Sorrow's strength. Celestial Realm Night Sorrow. Let's not talk about your encirclement. You even bully the weak. Do you think our celestial realm doesn't have people? Kill. Night Sorrow's right hand grabbed the blood-chilling evil punishing spear. His body created an afterimage as he directly struck the Scarlet Night Kingdom's leader's head. Soon after, the Scarlet Night Kingdom's leader's body disappeared in front of everyone's eyes. Beginning Great Annihilation / This was the first time Night Sorrow used Beginning Great Annihilation / in battle. Under the suppression of the Forbidden Dao domain, the Scarlet Night Kingdom's high-class emperor couldn't fight back. Spear light danced and afterimages crisscrossed. In just a moment, the foreign race soldiers surrounding Yi Xiaoluo were all killed. You guys go back first and recover your wounds before fighting. There will be people waiting for you at the spatial tunnel. Night Sorrow's body flashed and left after speaking. He had to investigate the Scarlet Night Kingdom's situation and see if it was the same as the last apocalypse. Also, Night Sorrow was worried that the Scarlet Night Kingdom was an ancient world because there were traces of endless vicissitudes in its aura. Seeing Night Sorrow leave, Yi Xiaoluo and the others flew towards the spatial tunnel. Although they were heavily injured, it didn't affect their flight. You initial F, Hair. The celestial realm only has one Night Sorrow. That is Sir Human Emperor? Yi Xiaoluo. Langley looked at Yi Xiaoluo. That's my father. I didn't intentionally hide it from you guys. When I said I knew the Human Emperor and often saw him, you guys didn't believe me. If I said more, it would just be showing off. Yi Xiaoluo explained. We can understand this. The relationship between us has nothing to do with family background. However, it's true that your family background is terrifying, Jingyu said with a smile. Currently, the most powerful person in the Heaven Realm was none other than Yi Shang. In addition, Night Sorrow didn't just have a high reputation, his strength was also recognized. The group of people exited the spatial tunnel and saw Lin Piaomiao and Yi Xiaoke. Xiaoluo greets Aunt. Yi Xiaoluo bowed to Lin Piaomiao. The others bowed as well. They all knew about the Grand Elder of the Council of Elders. Your injuries are very serious. Xiaoluo, bring your little brother and your friends to Yeyue Mountain Villa to treat their injuries first. Aunt still has things to do. Take this healing medicine and distribute it to everyone. Lin Piaomiao took out the healing medicine and handed it to Yi Xiaoluo. Aunt is so considerate. Father didn't even give me any healing medicine. Although Yi Xiaoluo was heavily injured, he didn't stop talking. Look at you now. You still dare to talk about your father. If your father died a little later, would you still be alive? Lin Piaomiao glared at Yi Xiaoluo. Yi Xiaoluo brought Yi Xiaoke and a few friends back to Night Moon Manor to recover. After their injuries were more or less under control, the group of people met in the main hall of the Night Moon Manor. Little Six, fourth brother let you down this time. Yi Xiaoluo looked at Yi Xiaoke and said, Fourth brother, you're not reliable. You always boast that you're the second emperor of the Yi clan. You said that I would live a good life if I went out with you. In the end, I almost got killed and lost half my life. Yi Xiaoke looked at Yi Xiaoluo and said, Accident, it was completely an accident. This is the first time something like this happened. You happened to see it. Don't tell eldest sister and third sister. They will scold me to death. Yi Xiaoluo was embarrassed by Yi Xiaoke's words. You also have people you're afraid of? Lu Yu said with a smile. My eldest sister and third sister are much scarier than my father, mother, and aunt. Xiaoluo, are you? Yi Xiaoluo looked at Yi Xiaoke and asked. This is the truth. Fourth brother, brothers and sisters, Xiaoke is here to thank everyone for risking their lives to protect me. Xiaoke ran away first not because he was afraid of death, but because he felt that it was useless to stay. He might as well hurry back and call for help. Xiaoke will remember this kindness. Yi Xiaoke stood up and bowed to Yi Xiaoluo, Jingyu and the others. Chapter 22:15. Xiaoluo, what do you think now? Lu Yu looked at Yi Xiaoluo and asked. What else can I think about? We're going out to train. We can deal with small fish and shrimps, but we can't eat big crabs. We should improve our cultivation first. Brother Jingyu, don't join the Heaven Wasteland army. It's more important to improve your strength first, Yi Xiaoluo said. I'll listen to you and Lu Yu this time. If you don't want to join, then I won't. I'm not strong enough, Jingyu lamented. Lang Li, what are you thinking about? Do you still want to go to the Heaven Wasteland City and join the Heaven Wasteland army? Lu Yu looked at Lang Li and asked. No, after I saw the human emperor's spear skills, I felt that my spear skills were like a child's waving a stick around, Lang Li lamented. There's no comparison. It's the truth. We're much older than His Majesty, but our experience and strength can't compare. His Majesty has been through hundreds of battles, and his strength is the result of killing. The things we've experienced are like playing house in front of him, Lu Yu said. After experiencing this, the 6 people present were deeply moved. Because they had almost been completely wiped out, they stayed in the Night Moon Mountain Villa to heal their wounds and think about their next path. Night Sorrow flew in the Scarlet Night Realm to investigate. He caught a cultivator from the Scarlet Night Realm and used the Soul Illusion Realm to influence his soul. He found some information. Just as he estimated, this alternate space was an ancient world with a history of thousands of reincarnations. Normally, after 1,000 reincarnations, a supreme world would fall to a sub-supreme world. After another 1,000 reincarnations, it would shatter. After shattering, it would form some small worlds. These small worlds didn't have much spiritual energy and weren't suitable for cultivation. However, these small worlds would be close to other realms and worlds. By plundering, the cultivators of this kind of small world could also rise up. This kind of small world had existed for a long time, and it did not have the crisis of a great calamity like other worlds. Over time, it became the ancient world that the people of the Heaven Realm spoke of. After probing the Spirit Sea memories of a few cultivators, Night Sorrow understood quite a bit about the Scarlet Night Realm. The Scarlet Night Realm was very strong. The first commander of the Scarlet Night Realm was a Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivator of the Tribulation of the 9 Emperors, while the second commander was a Tribulation of the 8 Emperors. This was Night Sorrow's evaluation of the Scarlet Night world. After discovering this information, Night Sorrow informed Tran Hung, and his doppelganger continued to investigate. Tran Hung called King Yowu and the Grand Elder back. Then they held a meeting of the Council of Elders. There are tribulation of the 9 Emperors in the Crimson Night Realm. Other than the City Lord and King Yowu, the rest of the people in the Celestial Realm can't handle it. Long Yixing said. The news about Night Sorrow had brought a lot of pressure to everyone. The opponent is very strong. If it weren't for the Demon-Winged Clan, we wouldn't be afraid of anything. Now, no matter who we fight, the Demon-Winged Clan will bite us if our strength is damaged, Tran Hung said. Is there any possibility of negotiation? The Grand Elder looked at Tran Hung and King Yowu and asked. It's almost impossible. The situation in the ancient world isn't very good. They have a long history, but the lack of resources is a drawback. When they discover new realms and new worlds, they will definitely take action. They will ruthlessly plunder and kill any life they see. The crystal cores of cultivators are all resources that they want, Tran Hung said. He knew a little about the ancient world and knew how it worked. That's really a big problem. The Golden Dragon King shook his head. What should we do? The problem is, what should we do now? How should we deal with it? Lin Yuanjun, the leader of the White Tiger clan, asked. Negotiation is very difficult. The opponent won't let go of the opportunity to plunder resources, but I will still try. At the very least, I have to let them know our attitude. Peaceful coexistence is the best. If we can't just fight, they have the mentality to fight for resources. We also have the determination to fight to the end in the Celestial Realm, Tran Hung said. First C%, all right, the City Lord will go negotiate. We will prepare for war. When I come back, who will guard the Sea of Reincarnation? The Grand Elder looked at the leaders of the mythological beast clan and asked. In the Celestial Realm, other than the 3 leaders, Lu Qi and the other leaders of the mythological beast clans were the strongest. Now that Lu Qi wasn't here, the Grand Elder hoped that someone would stand up. Then I will go. Long Yixing, one of the Azure Dragons, said. This is my communication crystal. If there is a battle, notify me immediately. King Yowu gave his communication crystal to Long Yixing. Lord, it's been too long since Yowu City teleported here. Long Yixing said. King Yowu shook his head and then told his plan. He planned to guard Tianhuang City and let sure you watch over Yowu City. If that's the case, I will guard the entrance, the Grand Elder said. After the arrangements were made, everyone started to move. In the Nine Realms world, Night Sorrow's Nine Realms body told Mo Tianji about the appearance of the Crimson Sky Realm. There will be many twists and turns in the last era of the sovereign world. It's all a catastrophe. One mistake and the world will be turned upside down. However, the 100 clans of the Celestial Realm are quite strong now. There shouldn't be too much risk. Mo Tianji said. There's nothing we can do about it. The opponent is very strong. We don't dare to consume too much during this period. Also, we have to hurry up with the World Tree. Night Sorrow was a little conflicted now. Everything had come together. Let's see the result of the negotiation first. If they really want to fight, I can go with you and wipe out their top forces first. Mo Tianji said. Let's see how it goes. Night Sorrow said. While Night Sorrow's body was investigating the situation, he also obtained a map from the Crimson Sky Realm's cultivators. The Crimson Sky Realm was quite strong, but it wasn't too big. It was just a medium-sized world. When Night Sorrow returned to the entrance of the space passage, he saw Tran Hung, the Golden Dragon King, and Lu Qi were all there. Night Sorrow, watch this place. I'll go in and take a look. Tran Hung said. Night Sorrow took out the map, then engraved a copy and handed it to Tran Hung. Everyone get ready for battle. If there's really going to be a battle, inform King Yowu to come here. We'll end it quickly and kill their 2 high-level Tribulation Emperor cultivators. The rest can be cleaned up later. Tran Hung left after saying that. Sister Xianair, help me send someone to inform the First Army and the God-slaying team to come here. Night Sorrow was ready for battle. Lin Piaomiao sent Lin Qixing to do this. She knew that Night Sorrow was preparing for battle. Is the Nine Realms world stable? The Grand Elder asked. Chapter 22:16. Night Sorrow took out spirit stones and began to set up the formation. No matter how the negotiations went, whether they would fight or not, the defensive formation had to be set up. Night Sorrow had this awareness. Seeing Night Sorrow set up the formation, King Yowu nodded. Night Sorrow was already very thoughtful. At this time, in front of the Scarlet Sky Realm's Scarlet Sky City, Tran Hung and the higher-ups of the Scarlet Sky Realm were confronting each other. You are the representative of the Celestial Realm. I am the Realm Lord of the Scarlet Sky Realm, Yu Qing. I will tell you clearly that the Scarlet Sky Realm will not compromise with any forces. If there is a war, we will fight, Yu Qing said. Yu Qing looked like a young man, but his actual age was 9 eras. He did not have much lifespan left. If he wanted to obtain opportunities, he naturally had to fight. His position as Realm Lord was different from that of Night Sorrow. He obtained it with power and strength. He used his strength to suppress other cultivators and obtain the right to rule. If you think the Scarlet Sky Realm can do it, then let's fight. This is your fate. Tran Hung snorted coldly. Then his body became blurry and he left. Realm Lord, why didn't you stop him? A middle-aged man asked. He is a Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivator and is not in our attack range. If he wants to leave, it will be difficult for us to stop him. Yu Qing shook his head. Tran Hung was not in his attack range. It would be useless even if he attacked. The middle-aged man nodded. He was the Vice Realm Lord of the Scarlet Sky Realm, Tang Bing. He was second only to Yu Qing in the Scarlet Sky Realm. He also needed resources to improve himself. The battle of the Scarlet Sky Realm was in everyone's interest. Tran Hung left. This time he did not plan to attack. He was here to negotiate. The next time they met, he would kill him openly. It was very troublesome to set up a formation. The First Army of the Heaven Wasteland Army and the God-slaying team were all here. Night Sorrow's formation was still being set up. Tran Hung returned, but Night Sorrow's formation was not finished. The group of people followed Night Sorrow and accompanied Night Sorrow to set up the formation. At the same time, they studied the next battle tactics. City Lord, how about we deal with them directly? Tell King Yowu to come over and kill their higher-ups. As for the people below, we can slowly eliminate them. This way, the City Lord and King Yowu won't be delayed when they return to Tianhuang City. This way, the Demon Wing clan won't dare to act recklessly, the Golden Dragon King said. The plan is feasible. As of now, this news has yet to be exposed. The Demon Wings race doesn't know about it yet. Before the Demon Wings race finds out and reacts, we have to settle the overall situation. Qin Huang said. After nearly half a month, Night Sorrow finished setting up the array formation. He used Monarch Spirit Stones in the key positions. After setting up the array formation, he handed it over to the Great Elder and Lu Qi. Night Sorrow, you can't be here now. We will take care of things here. You still have an important mission. Take that person, Imperial Concubine of the Ice Phoenix race, and the God-slaying team to that place. The success or failure of that place has far-reaching significance. I am worried that the appearance of the Scarlet Night world will cause other ancient worlds to surface. Tran Hung looked at Night Sorrow, who had finished setting up the formation. Okay. But what about the specific location? Night Sorrow looked at Tran Hung. Tran Hung handed Night Sorrow a map. I can only rely on you. One more thing. The person you want to approach the World Tree must be the original body. Also, I feel that this is an opportunity for you to break through and improve. You can do whatever you want. Night Sorrow was shocked. Tran Hung was the City Lord of Heaven Wasteland City. She would not speak without thinking. After putting away the map, Night Sorrow nodded at Lin Piaomiao. Be careful. Equals most TT new chapter G section W above U2. Think more about everything. Don't take risks. Lin Piaomiao reminded Night Sorrow. She was also worried. Night Sorrow brought the God-slaying team to Night Moon Villa. His original body had also rushed over from Heaven Wasteland City. Mo Tianji, who had received Night Sorrow's 9 Realms Doppelganger's message, had also arrived. Mo Tianji's face was covered with a white veil. Take a rest. We will set off when Imperial Concubine arrives. Night Sorrow invited Mo Tianji to Night Moon Villa's waterside pavilion for tea and rest. He began to study the map of the ancient world where the World Tree was. This ancient world was named World Tree by Tran Hung. It was a desolate world. Although there was no world origin, there was plenty of world origin energy because of the World Tree. Tran Hung had studied the World Tree for a period of time but couldn't find a way to approach it. In addition, when Tran Hung first discovered the World Tree, it was still very quiet. There were no cultivators. But later on there were sporadic cultivators. This was also the reason why Tran Hung hurriedly told Night Sorrow to give up the war with Scarlet Night Realm and rush to the World Tree. He was afraid that there would be problems. The World Tree could protect the Celestial Realm. Even after a Supreme Realm, it wouldn't be destroyed. This had a profound meaning. While Night Sorrow was studying the map, Wu Lingfei arrived at Night Moon Villa. Wu Lingfei hadn't been in the Celestial Realm these years. She had been staying in the ancestral land of the Ice Phoenix race. Using the accumulation of the Ice Phoenix race's immortal shell and time acceleration, she had rapidly increased her cultivation. She was already at the Heavenly Tao 7 Emperor Tribulation. Imperial Concubine. Seeing Wu Lingfei, Night Sorrow smiled from the bottom of his heart. Wu Lingfei was his closest relative before he found his family. She still was. Night Sorrow, I'm here. Wu Lingfei sat down next to Night Sorrow. Let me introduce you. This is the person I respect the most, and she's also my relative Wu Lingfei. She's the Imperial Concubine of the Ice Phoenix race. I call her Aunt Fei. Aunt Fei, this is my good friend, the Heavenly Concubine of the 9 Regions world. Yishang introduced Wu Lingfei and Mo Tianji. Hello, I am Wu Lingfei. Wu Lingfei nodded at Mo Tianji. The appearance is born from the heart. The kindness in the eyes can penetrate the bottom of one's heart. Night Sorrow's Imperial Concubine is indeed not simple. I am Heavenly Concubine. Mo Tianji held the sword in her left hand and cupped her right hand. You are too polite. Night Sorrow doesn't have many friends and even fewer good friends. It can be seen that he recognizes you very much. Wu Lingfei smiled. Don't be so polite. Imperial Concubine is from the 9 Realms world and so is Heavenly Concubine. We are all on the same side. This time we will fight side by side in the world of trees. Night Sorrow said after pouring tea for the two. Then Night Sorrow told Wu Lingfei about the World Tree and its importance. So important? Then if we get it, will we give it to the Celestial Realm? Or the 9 Realms world? Wu Lingfei directly said her thoughts. Are all people from the 9 Realms world like this? Mo Tianji smiled. We will talk about it after we get it. We have to hurry and get it done before the world of trees is discovered. Night Sorrow said. Chapter 22:17. The location of the Realm of Trees was something that Night Sorrow did not expect. It was near the evil Punisher grounds in the Misty Dynasty, which was where the ghost ancestor's soul once resided and where Xiaogu was born. Night Sorrow led the group to the entrance of the realm of trees. There was a ceiling formation at the entrance, which was set up by Tran Hung. Tran Hung did not tell Night Sorrow about the ceiling formation. He knew that it was difficult for others but not for Night Sorrow. "It's here. I've been here before," Night Sorrow said as he began to break the ceiling formation. After a while, the ceiling formation stopped working. Night Sorrow let everyone in and started the ceiling formation again. He did not want other foreign races to enter the celestial realm. The celestial realm was already troublesome enough. If more trouble came, they would be in a terrible fix. The vicissitudes of time are very strong. Even the aura of the heaven wasteland domain cannot compare, Mo Tianji said after entering the realm of trees. Although the vicissitudes of time are very strong, the spiritual qi here is very strong, and there is a different kind of vitality, Wu Lingfei added. Night Sorrow nodded. "This is the ancient aura of the world tree. Tianyu Yimei, you two will be the scouts." Tianyu and Yi Mei cupped their hands at Night Sorrow and set off. Both of them were good at speed and were the best candidates for scouts. Night Sorrow's original body commanded the group, and his doppelganger could also be the scout. However, as the leader, it was not suitable for him to go. It would make the god-slaying team look weak, which would be a blow to their morale. After advancing for half a day, Mo Tianji felt that something was wrong. "This aura is not right. There is a bloody aura. It's different from when we first entered." "It seems that I'm not the only one who feels this way," Wu Lingfei said. "Yes, I feel it too. Something might have changed. Let's move quickly. There is still half a day's journey." Night Sorrow rubbed his nose. After advancing for another hour, Tianyu returned. "Leader, there are traces of foreign races ahead," Tianyu reported. In private, Tianyu called Night Sorrow 13th brother, but when the group went out to battle, he called him leader. At this time, Yi Mei, who was scouting in another direction, also returned. "Too terrifying. Luckily, my illusion technique was effective and I wasn't discovered. There's an army of foreign races in front of us. They are too terrifying." Yi Mei's face was slightly pale. With Yi Mei's explanation, everyone knew what was going on. Yi Mei had found out that the alien races were very ugly. They all had big mouths that reached their ears, three-edged tails with scales and spikes on their backs. This is the demon scorpion race recorded in the history books. They are incomparably brutal, and their innate talent is devouring. We absorb the energy of heaven and earth for our own use, but they rely on devouring. They eat ores, spirit stones, other cultivators and absorb the energy from their food to cultivate. Therefore brutality is in their nature. If you are defeated or killed by them, not even your bones will remain. Mo Tianji was very knowledgeable. She was able to confirm the other party's identity through Yi Mei and Tianyu's description. "That means this is going to be a battle to the death. Team, stay here." Night Sorrow ordered the group. Tightening the Samsara halberd on his back, Night Sorrow nodded to Mo Tianji and Wu Lingfei. "I'll go take a look. The group is in a safe zone." "I'll go with you," Mo Tianji said. "Yes, it's more suitable for Tianji to go with you." Wu Lingfei nodded. "Okay. Longjin, Lin Chuan, take care of your brothers." Night Sorrow said to Longjin and Lin Chuan. Then he left with Mo Tianji. On the way, Mo Tianji told Yi Shang about the strengths and weaknesses of the demon scorpion race. The demon scorpion race had a powerful body, but their weakness was that their soul power was slightly weaker. The so-called slightly weaker referred to the fact that they were not good at soul attacks. However, there was a mark on their skulls that could block soul attacks. "It looks like we're too slow. The ancient world's cultivators have found the world of trees. The secret of the world tree can't be hidden anymore. We have to hurry. Otherwise, it'll get harder and harder," Night Sorrow said. Mo Tianji nodded. She knew about Night Sorrow's leadership skills. She was impressed. She hadn't been in the Nine Zones world for long, but she'd heard a lot about Night Sorrow when she was drinking tea in the tea house and strolling on the streets. After a while, Night Sorrow and Mo Tianji found the demon scorpion race. Their soul power was strong. They avoided the demon scorpion race and checked the situation. The other two also saw the world tree from afar. However, they couldn't see it clearly. The world tree was too big. Because they had to hide from the demon scorpion race, Night Sorrow and Mo Tianji were far away. They could only see the tree crown. They couldn't see the trunk. "Not good. Let's go." Mo Tianji pulled Night Sorrow and started to fly. Night Sorrow didn't understand, but he knew Mo Tianji had her reasons. He didn't resist and let Mo Tianji pull him along. "I sense something. It's a cultivator from the tribulation of the 9 emperors. There's also a weaker one. They're chasing us. Mo Tianji's expression was serious. Can we kill them? Night Sorrow asked. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. How? There are 2 of them. One is a 9 Emperor Tribulation cultivator. It's not a problem to deal with me. The other one's aura is much stronger than yours. He should be a 7 Emperor Tribulation cultivator. How do you think we should kill them? Mo Tianji said. We can kill them. Why can't we? Night Sorrow thought for a while and came up with an idea. How do you think we should kill them? If I think we can, we'll fight. If not, we'll have to run first. Mo Tianji said. She didn't want to take Night Sorrow with her. She wasn't worried about herself. She was worried about Night Sorrow. When we meet later, we'll work together and kill the 7 Emperor Tribulation cultivator. Then you can deal with the strongest one. I'll watch the show. I guess I'll heal myself. Night Sorrow said. This is a race against time. Let's see if the 9 Emperor Tribulation cultivator kills you first or if I kill the 7 Emperor Tribulation cultivator first. It's a challenge for me, but it's even more stressful for you. If you're not careful, you'll die. Mo Tianji looked at Night Sorrow and said. If we have to fight, we'll fight. If we have the chance, we'll kill them. The main thing is that we have to race against time. If we can kill their leader, we'll be able to change the situation and gain the upper hand, Yishan said. All right. If you want to go crazy, I'll go crazy with you. Let's see if we can do it. Mo Tianji's fighting spirit was ignited by Night Sorrow's attitude. We can definitely do it. If we run a little further, we'll hide and get ready. If they come, we'll kill them. Night Sorrow said. After running for a while, Night Sorrow cast a spatial crack in front of them. Without needing Night Sorrow to say anything, Mo Tianji brought Night Sorrow into the spatial turbulence. The 2 of them were going to set up an ambush. Chapter 22:18. When Night Sorrow tore open the spatial rift, Mo Tianji understood what Night Sorrow meant. He wanted her to hide in the turbulent flow of space and ambush her there. This was the best way to hide and ambush her. E*J*Ty, all this time, you've always defeated those stronger than you. Not only are you strong, but you're also smart. Mo Tianji said. She understood that the losses she suffered at the hands of Night Sorrow in the past were not for nothing. Night Sorrow's fighting style was too wild. He dared to do what he thought. The chief of the demon scorpion race, Xie Kuang, and the great elder, Xie Li, sensed Mo Tianji's aura and chased after her. However, after a while, the aura disappeared. They followed the aura to where Yishang and Mo Tianji entered the spatial turbulence. That's enough, kill. Night Sorrow roared as his doppelganger emerged from his body. Then he used space crack and 2 soul-extinguishing slashes. While Night Sorrow was making his move, Mo Tianji's body flashed out of the spatial rift. Then her precept domain pressed down on Li Xie. The plan was to kill Li Xie first. Night Sorrow's soul-extinguishing slash was also aimed at Li Xie. When Mo Tianji moved, Night Sorrow's original body and avatar cast their precept domains within Mo Tianji's precept domain. Then they used different combat skills. His original body's primordial obliteration slash and his avatar's reincarnation true dragon art attacked Xie Li at the same time. Damn it. Xie Li growled. His Dao domain had been suppressed greatly. At the same time, an illusion appeared in his divine sea. Although he knew that it was an illusion, he immediately fell into it after struggling out of it. Night Sorrow's soul-extinguishing slash could not break through his spirit sea, but the illusions continued to attack his spirit sea. Mo Tianji's sword chi pierced through Li Xie's chest. Night Sorrow's samsara halberd was not as fast as Mo Tianji, so it was blocked by the saber in Li Xie's right hand. However, Night Sorrow's samsara halberd's destruction attribute and primordial destruction cut destroyed part of Li Xie's weapon and broke the tendons in his right arm. Don't worry about anything else. Keep killing. Night Sorrow shouted when he saw that Mo Tianji, who had killed Scorpion Li, was going to fight Scorpion Kuang. At the same time, his avatar flashed and used the space-time realm. Then he used the true reincarnation dragon art to attack Scorpion Kuang. Mo Tianji's eyes were filled with shock because Night Sorrow was using himself to buy time for Mo Tianji to kill Xie Li. Anyone who stands in my way will die. Seeing that Scorpion Li had been injured, Scorpion Kuang became anxious and charged toward Night Sorrow. At this time, Night Sorrow's body flashed again and used the space-time realm again. When Scorpion Kuang's saber light swept past, he appeared again. The true reincarnation dragon art changed into the primordial destruction cut and stabbed toward Scorpion Kwang's chest. Night Sorrow's most powerful combat skill was the primordial destruction cut that had not been perfectly integrated. If the primordial destruction cut had been perfectly integrated, Night Sorrow would have studied the real true reincarnation dragon art. Now, the true reincarnation dragon art was just a combat skill supported by reincarnation energy. In terms of profound, it was different from the primordial destruction cut. Scorpion Kwang's expression changed. He could feel that the primordial destruction cut could threaten him. Immediately he changed his saber technique into a horizontal slash to block Night Sorrow's attack. Seeing Scorpion Kwang's horizontal slash, Night Sorrow's blood Kirin evil slaying spear trembled. Energy burst out and blasted toward Scorpion Kwang. Normally, Night Sorrow would not fight Scorpion Kwang head-on at this time. He would definitely be at a disadvantage. However, in order to buy time for Mo Tianji in his original body, he had to fight even if he was injured. At this time, Scorpion Li's doppelganger had appeared. Night Sorrow's original body was carrying Scorpion Li's doppelganger while Mo Tianji was attacking Scorpion Li's original body, which had been severely injured by the two of them. Scorpion Li's original body could not hold on any longer. He had been severely injured the moment Night Sorrow and Mo Tianji appeared. Scorpion Li's doppelganger did not want to fight Night Sorrow's original body. He wanted to take on Night Sorrow's doppelganger and let Scorpion Kwang support his original body. Although he was a tribulation of 7 emperors and his life level had evolved and his soul was stable, who was Mo Tianji? She was a tribulation of 9 emperors and had a taboo attribute. Scorpion Li's body had been damaged and half of his soul had been destroyed. He would die if he continued fighting. Since Scorpion Li's doppelganger was unwilling to fight Night Sorrow's original body, Night Sorrow's original body was under less pressure. While restraining Scorpion Li's doppelganger, he threw out the human emperor's seal and activated the fire of merit to envelop Scorpion Li's original body. He did not give Scorpion Li's soul a chance to escape. At the same time, he controlled the soul extinguishing slash to constantly affect the soul of Scorpion Li's original body. The battle was intense. Both sides were racing against time because every moment could change the outcome of the battle. Mo Tianji did not hold back at all. She suppressed Scorpion Li with her precept domain and attacked him crazily. Night Sorrow's doppelganger was not optimistic either. However, he was in a better situation than Scorpion Li. Scorpion Li's precept domain was suppressed, so were his movements and attacks. On the other hand, Scorpion Kwang's precept domain could not suppress Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow could still resist Scorpion Kwang's attacks with his precept domain. However, he would be injured every time he blocked an attack. Hold on. You need a little more time. A little more time. Mo Tianji cheered Night Sorrow on in her heart. She kept waving the long sword in her hand. Streaks of sword chi entered Scorpion Li's body and destroyed it continuously. Explode. Scorpion Li roared when he felt that his body could not hold on any longer. His original body was about to self-destruct. He wanted to give his soul a chance to survive. Kill? Night Sorrow's original body's soul extinguishing slash did not attack Scorpion Li's doppelganger. Instead, he and his doppelganger's soul extinguishing slash went for Scorpion Li's original body. At the same time, Mo Tianji's soul attack bombarded Scorpion Li's original body's divine sea. The demon scorpion race's skull was sturdy, but the soul attack's influence was still there. The soul attack hit his soul without any gap, stopping his self-destruction and his body's movements. Mo Tianji seized the opportunity and slashed out with her right hand, splitting Xie Li's head from the middle. When Scorpion Li's extremely weak soul floated out of the divine sea, Night Sorrow's fire of merit pounced on it and enveloped it. Slash again. Mo Tianji stabbed her sword into the fire of merit and shook violently. Annihilated. Scorpion Li's original body's soul was burned by the fire of merit. Coupled with Mo Tianji's sword, it was completely annihilated. Scorpion Li's doppelganger spat out a mouthful of blood. The death of his original body hurt him greatly. At the same time, Mo Tianji attacked Scorpion Li's doppelganger. Night Sorrow's original body used the space-time realm and rushed toward the doppelganger and Scorpion Kwang's battlefield. His doppelganger had already been hit. The doppelganger's right hand that was holding the spear had been injured twice. The doppelganger's energy circulation had become sluggish. If his original body did not help, his doppelganger would be killed passively. He was not as strong as Scorpion Li. After all, Scorpion Li's level was higher than his. Night Sorrow's original body used the space-time realm. When he reappeared, he was right in front of his doppelganger and used the primordial shattering slash. Scorpion King slash. Scorpion Kwang was furious. He could not accept the fact that Scorpion Li's original body had been slashed in front of him. With an explosion, Night Sorrow's original body was sent flying backward. At the same time, Night Sorrow's doppelganger held the blood-Kirin evil-slaying spear in his left hand and pounced again. You must die. Scorpion Kwang slashed with his saber again. Chapter 22:19. Come on. Night Sorrow's true body took a deep breath, suppressing his surging chi and blood, and charged toward Scorpion Kwang again. The battle turned into a 2-on-1 battle. Night Sorrow's human emperor's seal enveloped Scorpion Kwang's doppelganger, while Mo Chenji's fire of merit enveloped Scorpion Kwang's doppelganger in her precept domain. Scorpion Kwang's doppelganger became a target and was constantly injured by Mo Chenji. His injuries accumulated rapidly. Night Sorrow's true body and doppelganger unleashed their strongest state and kept charging toward Scorpion Kwang. Every time he attacked, he would use the space-time realm to dodge Scorpion Kwang's blade aura. Then he would fight Scorpion Kwang head-on, preventing him from supporting Scorpion Kwang. Night Sorrow was also in a miserable state. Both his true body and doppelganger were injured. The corners of his mouth and his robes were covered in blood. Of course, these injuries were not caused by Scorpion Kwang's attacks. Most of them were caused by the impact of energy. Night Sorrow had used the human Tao ceremonies Tao Te Ching to enhance his merit Taoist body. Otherwise, his body would have been shattered by Scorpion Kwang's attacks. Scorpion Kwang was very annoyed. He kept slashing at Night Sorrow with his blade and kept approaching the battle between Mo Chenji and Scorpion Kwang. Mo Chenji was no fool. She suppressed Scorpion Kwang and kept retreating. Sometimes she even sent Scorpion Kwang flying, not giving him a chance to get close. When Night Sorrow was sent flying again and his true body and doppelganger were no longer able to fight, Mo Chenji also finished her last attack and killed Scorpion Kwang, who was controlled by the fire of merit. She took Scorpion Kwang's spoils and charged toward him. She knew that Night Sorrow's situation was not good. His internal organs were severely injured, and all 4 arms of his true body and doppelganger were broken. Night Sorrow was risking his life to buy time for her to kill Scorpion Kwang. Be careful, heavenly concubine. Night Sorrow shouted. The Haoyan Pagoda appeared and flew toward Mo Chenji. His true body and doppelganger also flashed into it. Trying to run? Xia Kwang reached out with his left hand to capture the Haoyan Pagoda. However, the Haoyan Pagoda was flying toward Mo Chenji. As soon as he controlled the pagoda to fly, Mo Chenji arrived. She grabbed the Haoyan Pagoda with her left hand and put it in her clothes. Then she started to fight with Xia Kwang. Inside the Clear Heaven Pagoda, Yi Shang's true body and clone separated. Yi Shang's true body entered the highest level of time acceleration to speed up his recovery. His clone controlled the Human Emperor's seal to float above Xia Kwang's head with the Human Emperor's seal, suppressing him. Mo Chenji waved her long sword, not giving Xia Kwang a chance to break the Human Emperor's seal. Scorpion Kwang was filled with anger and hatred. He was suppressed by the Human Sovereign's seal and his strength had decreased. Mo Chenji was stronger than him and did not give him the chance to break the Human Sovereign's seal. As the battle continued, Night Sorrow watched intently. It was a blessing for any cultivator to be able to witness a battle at the level of the tribulation of the 9 emperors. Many of the battles were the quintessence that cultivators yearned for even in their dreams. Of course, whether or not they could understand the battle was another matter. Cultivators at the King realm could not see it clearly. Cultivators at the Imperial realm could not understand it either. Night Sorrow was naturally not a problem. He could fight with cultivators at the level of the tribulation of the 9 emperors. Naturally, nothing could be hidden from him. Aren't you going to heal your injuries? A battle like this cannot be decided in a short time. Only when the damage accumulates to a certain extent can it affect the battle strength. Only then can the battle result be determined. Mo Chenji's voice penetrated the clear sky pagoda. It's a rare opportunity to learn. My injuries have stabilized. I'm not in a hurry. Night Sorrow shook his head. He watched while recalling the enlightenment he had just gained. When he was fighting with Scorpion Kwang just now, the energy of the beginning of destruction slash was constantly scattered. However, the scattered energy was mixed into one. The imperfect fusion had a point of connection. This gave Night Sorrow a direction to continue his deduction. Night Sorrow recalled Tran Heng's words. This might be the opportunity for him to break through the bottleneck. Of course, this opportunity did not come easily. Not everyone had the courage to dance on the tip of a blade like Night Sorrow. This was because one careless mistake could lead to death. It was a battle under high pressure. Mo Chinji praised Night Sorrow in her heart. Her admiration for him increased. First of all, Night Sorrow's control of the battle situation was on point. Second, his personal ability. Since ancient times, no cultivator at the level of the tribulation of the four emperors dared to say that they could withstand a few moves from a cultivator at the level of the tribulation of the 9 emperors. This was because they were too fragile. A single energy bombardment from a cultivator at the level of the tribulation of the 9 emperors could shatter the body of a cultivator at the level of the tribulation of the 9 emperors. However, Night Sorrow had withstood it. He was only injured. His origin and foundation were not damaged. This was too rare. It was a wise choice to give up on other things and watch the battle carefully. It was not easy to see a battle between cultivators at the level of the tribulation of the 9 emperors. Night Sorrow watched the battle while recording it with a crystal ball. This was because he would analyze it later. This was also the path he would take in the future. Mo Chinji and Scorpion Kwang's battle lasted for a long time. After a day, Scorpion Kwang's combat strength had only decreased. Even if he was hit by 2 sword chi, Mo Chinji could not completely suppress him. However, Night Sorrow knew that Scorpion Kwang would go downhill soon. His condition would deteriorate and he would be injured more and more. He would enter a cycle of nausea. When the injuries and energy reached a certain level, the outcome would be decided. Scorpion Kwang wanted to retreat, but Mo Chinji was too fast. Every time Scorpion Kwang tried to dodge, he would be intercepted by her. Chinji, you used to be famous. It's not baseless. Amazing. Night Sorrow praised Mo Chinji. It's still too early, Mo Chinji replied. Night Sorrow's main body was recovering. At the same time he was researching the beginning annihilation slash. Although the low level of the peerless attribute was a huge factor, Scorpion Kwang's powerful impact had scattered the energy of the beginning annihilation slash. It had shaken them into one, giving Night Sorrow an opportunity to make a breakthrough. At noon the next day, Scorpion Kwang's dantian had been hit by Mo Chinji's sword. His condition had deteriorated and he was completely suppressed by Mo Chinji. Night Sorrow knew that the outcome was about to be decided. However, it was hard to say if Mo Chinji could kill him. After all, the cultivators of the tribulation of the 9 emperors had many tricks up their sleeves. Mo Zhantian's escape from the celestial realm was an example. What are you thinking about? Mo Chinji's soul power had been paying attention to the clear sky pagoda. She noticed that Night Sorrow was thinking and asked, if he burns his essence blood or soul power to escape, don't compete with him. It's not worth it to damage your origin, Night Sorrow reminded Mo Chinji. So that's what you're thinking about. My battle with him is different from the battle between your Uncle Master and Mo Zhantian. The demon-winged clan has a pair of wings on their back. They are naturally fast. In addition, Mo Zhantian is burning his essence blood and power of faith. Your Uncle Master naturally can't catch up to him. However, even if Scorpion Kwang burns his essence blood, his speed won't be much faster than mine. Do you think he can escape? Mo Chinji's voice was filled with confidence. Scorpion Kwang was suppressed and seriously injured. He let out a furious roar. At this moment, Night Sorrow's main body stood up. His injuries had healed. He planned to fight again. He wanted to organize his thoughts on the fusion of the beginning annihilation slash. On Chapter 1 equals. Chapter 22:20. Damn bastard. Scorpion Kwang scolded. They were in a passive position. Although Mo Chinji was powerful, Night Sorrow had played a key role. If Night Sorrow had not tried his best to stop him, he could have attacked Mo Chinji with Scorpionly instead of Scorpionly being killed by Mo Chinji. In addition, if the human Emperor's seal had not been suppressing him, he would not have been in a passive position, which led to a vicious cycle. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. You're the bastard. You're a Tribulation 9 Emperors who can't do anything to a Tribulation 4 Emperors. Mo Chinji was displeased to see Scorpion Kwang scolding Night Sorrow. She hated it when a cultivator talked with his strength. After being scolded by Mo Chinji, Scorpion Kwang did not know how to fight back because Mo Chinji was right. He waved his saber angrily and attacked Night Sorrow's true body. Night Sorrow did not dodge at all. He was here to fight head-on and find an opportunity to break through the beginning's great destruction slash. Bang. With a muffled sound, the energy of Night Sorrow's beginning's great destruction / was dispersed and his body was sent flying. However, Scorpion Kwang was not in a good condition either. Not only was he invaded by the beginning's energy, but his chest was also pierced by Mo Tianji's long sword. Again. Although the corner of his mouth was red and he was already injured, Yi Sorrow's second attack came. After 2 clashes, Night Sorrow did not have the ability to fight again. He flashed into the Haotian Pagoda to meditate and heal himself. Then, he continued to study the perfect fusion of the beginning's great destruction / brainless. Scorpion Kwang scolded when he saw Night Sorrow running away with injuries. You're the dumbest one. Can't you see that he's using you as a whetstone? He's playing with you. Mo Tianji mocked Scorpion Kwang. Scorpion Kwang did not know Night Sorrow's intention, but how could Mo Tianji not know? Hearing Mo Tianji's words, Kwang Xia was very angry. He could only vent his anger on the battle. However, the situation was getting worse and worse. Mo Tianji's energy had reached a certain amount in his body and was constantly destroying it. Night Sorrow's main body was cultivating while recuperating from his injuries. His doppelganger was naturally recovering while watching the battle. The battle was still ongoing. Scorpion Kwang tried to escape by burning his essence blood, but even so, his speed was not at an advantage. Mo Tianji kept pestering him. In addition, when he burned his essence blood to fight, Mo Tianji would avoid him and fight conservatively. When he stopped burning his essence blood, Mo Tianji would come and attack him. She would not give him a chance to escape or catch his breath. As soon as Night Sorrow's main body recovered from its injuries, it came out to kill. After the second kill, Night Sorrow's main body flashed into the Haotian godly pagoda and laughed. After the last clash, his primordial shattering / had truly completed the fusion and fulfilled the feeling of Tranhung. While Night Sorrow was recuperating and cultivating, Scorpion Kwang was gradually losing. He was constantly suppressed by Mo Tianji's attacks and his body was full of holes. You won't have it easy either. Knowing that he could not hold on any longer, Scorpion Kwang roared and self-destructed. This time Mo Tianji and Night Sorrow could not control it. After all, the soul of the tribulation of 9 emperors was too strong and would not be easily affected. At the critical moment, Mo Tianji grabbed the human emperor's seal in the air with her left hand and used her precept domain to protect herself. She floated back and avoided the energy impact of Scorpion Kwang's self-destruction. Then she threw the human emperor's seal at Scorpion Kwang's soul like a hidden weapon. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. The human emperor's seal wrapped in Mo Tianji's energy hit Scorpion Kwang's soul. As Scorpion Kwang's soul trembled, the golden characters outside the human emperor's seal flashed. The fire of merit appeared and enveloped Scorpion Kwang's soul. Scorpion Kwang's soul kept cursing in the space, but Mo Tianji did not care. She slashed at Scorpion Kwang's soul in the fire of merit with her long sword. Night Sorrow, his main body, and his doppelganger also appeared. Although they were not in good condition, they could still use their spears. The Samsara halberd and the Blood Kirin evil-slaying spear kept attacking Scorpion Kwang's soul in the fire of merit. After a while, Scorpion Kwang's soul dissipated. The battle is over. Just as you predicted, Mo Tianji said as she wiped the sweat off her forehead. She had been fighting for almost 3 days and it had been very tiring for her. You did well, Night Sorrow said to Mo Tianji with a smile. You did even better, Mo Tianji said. You killed the 2 of them. You were the most important part. She felt that it was very strange. When she was young, she had gone out to train and had teamed up with others before, but she had never cooperated so well with Night Sorrow. The 2 of them didn't even need to communicate to know how to cooperate and what the other was thinking. Drink a jar of wine and take a rest. Night Sorrow laughed. He was very excited and felt a sense of accomplishment after killing the cultivators from the tribulation of 7 emperors and tribulation of 9 emperors with Mo Tianji. What made him happiest was that he had successfully integrated the primordial destruction / Although it was still lacking, it would not be a problem after practicing for a while. Mo Tianji smiled. She felt that this kind of battle was the charm of diligent cultivation. The battle was incisive and it was the perfect combination of battle tactics and strength. After sorting out the spoils of war from Xia Kwang and Xia Li, Night Sorrow and Night Sorrow's eyes were full of disdain. They were too poor. Other than the limited refining materials, there was nothing good. Fortunately, these 2 crystal cores are not bad. Otherwise, killing them would be a hassle, Mo Tianji said as she threw the 2 crystal cores to Night Sorrow. Keep them for fun. The crystal cores of the cultivators from the tribulation of 9 emperors are the affirmation of your splendid battle record. Night Sorrow threw the crystal cores to Emo Tianji. That's true. It's hard to kill the cultivators from the tribulation of 9 emperors. These crystal cores are the glory. Emo Tianji nodded. You should carve the words Emo Tianji too, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Emo Tianji shook her head. In the celestial realm and the 9 domains world, the word Emo is hated and misunderstood. I will be called Heavenly Concubine from now on. It has nothing to do with Mo, Heavenly Concubine. That's a good name. Night Sorrow nodded and watched Heavenly Concubine carve the words on the crystal cores. After carving the words on the crystal cores, Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine rushed back to the camp. However, Night Sorrow's original body and doppelganger had entered the Clear Sky Pagoda to heal. His injuries weren't serious, but in this critical period, it was necessary to maintain peak combat strength. When Heavenly Concubine returned, Wu Lingfei and the others asked anxiously when they didn't see Night Sorrow. He's fine. He's a little injured and is healing. Heavenly Concubine took out the Clear Sky Pagoda and placed it on the table in the commander's tent. Are you okay? Wu Lingfei asked Heavenly Concubine. Thank you. I'm fine. Heavenly Concubine was stunned. She didn't expect Wu Lingfei to care about her. This feeling surprised her. It's good that you're fine. Let's not talk about our success or failure. First, everyone's safety, Wu Lingfei said. Chapter 22-21. You don't have to be so polite. We're going to fight side by side. Besides, Night Sorrow treats you as a friend, so I treat you the same. Wu Lingfei smiled and pushed the crystal core back. Since you treat me as a friend, then take it as a small accessory. Heavenly Concubine stuffed the crystal core into Emo Tianji's hand. Update. And new F latest too fast /under, this is a crystal core? The energy it contains is terrifying. And the words they're very new. Wu Lingfei said in surprise after looking at the crystal core. It's a crystal core. Today Night Sorrow and I work together to kill a cultivator. It's a milestone for me. I'm giving it to a friend who cares about me. It's very meaningful. Heavenly Concubine said. Then I'll take it. We're friends so I can't reject good intentions. Wu Lingfei smiled and looked at the crystal core. 3 days later, Yi Shang, who had been recuperating inside the Clear Sky Pagoda for nearly half a year, had perfectly fused the beginning annihilation slash, and had fully recovered from his injuries, came out of his closed-door training. He was in high spirits at this time. He was very satisfied with the return of such a difficult battle. In the command tent, Heavenly Concubine and Wu Lingfei were chatting. Wu Lingfei was also playing with the crystal core. Night Sorrow, how's your recovery? Wu Lingfei asked when she saw Night Sorrow appear. Very good. Not only did I gain from killing enemies, but I also gained from cultivation. This. Night Sorrow smiled and stretched his waist. Then he saw the crystal core in Wu Lingfei's hand. Heavenly Concubine gave it to me. Does it look good? Wu Lingfei showed the crystal core to Night Sorrow. Of course it looks good. Not to mention the future, it should be the only one in the entire celestial realm right now. It's very meaningful. It's also a proof of Heavenly Concubine's cultivation path. I'll give it to you. It shows how good she is to you. Night Sorrow smiled. Wu Lingfei was stunned. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, she knew that the crystal core in her hand wasn't simple. It's the crystal core of the tribulation of the 9 emperors. Killing the tribulation of the 9 emperors is a milestone for the Heavenly Concubine, Night Sorrow explained, seeing that Wu Lingfei didn't know. Heavenly Concubine, I can't take this. It's too important to you. After knowing the whole story and the meaning of this crystal core, Wu Lingfei handed it to the Heavenly Concubine. When you asked me if I was okay, we were friends. To me this is very important. It's just a gift. Just accept it. The Heavenly Concubine smiled. Don't you still have the tribulation of the 7 emperors? Give that to me and keep this one. Wu Lingfei still insisted, but in a different way. Heavenly Concubine, then let's do as my Aunt Fei says. That's not bad either. Night Sorrow said with a smile. The Heavenly Concubine nodded and took out Xie Li's crystal core. She engraved a few words on it and gave it to the Spirit Concubine. She signed it as the Heavenly Concubine. I like this one. Wu Lingfei smiled. Has there been any movement from the Demon Scorpion army in the past few days? Night Sorrow asked. Wu Lingfei shook her head. There really hadn't been any movement in the past few days. We killed Xie Li's original body and doppelganger. Xie Kuang didn't have a doppelganger, so the news shouldn't have spread. Rest well, then we can take action. The heavenly concubine said. After drinking some water, Night Sorrow thought for a moment. It's not suitable for a large group to take action now. We don't know how many tribulation of the 9 emperors there are and how many cultivators can pose a threat to our group. We must first kill their high-level members, then move out and kill them. Okay. Then let's take the group with similar cultivation? Wu Lingfei asked. I'll go find Long Jin. Night Sorrow went out of the main tent and called Lin Chuan, Long Jin, Lin Yun, and Tianyu into the tent. He told them to gather the brothers above tribulation of the 9 emperors to fight later. Of course, there weren't many above tribulation of the 9 emperors. After the group was gathered, Night Sorrow explained the situation and let everyone feel the heavenly concubine's soul power. If there was a situation, they couldn't resist the pull of the heavenly concubine's soul power. This way, it would be easier for the heavenly concubine to rescue them. The members of the First Army and the God-slaying squad obeyed Night Sorrow's orders. Then Night Sorrow told the rest of the group to wait. He, the heavenly concubine Wu Lingfei, and Lin Chuan led a few others with decent cultivation to the encampment of the Demon Scorpion army. This time they weren't going to scout. They were going to kill directly. The Demon Scorpion army had more than 10,000 people, but the members were mainly king and the emperor. There weren't many tribulation of the 9 emperors, and even fewer tribulation of the 9 emperors. Massacre. Night Sorrow led the group to kill the upper echelons of the Demon Scorpion race. The weaker members of the Demon Scorpion race didn't dare to go forward. The difference in cultivation was too great. If they went forward, they would die. Therefore, Night Sorrow and the others weren't surrounded. They killed their way in and out of the Demon Scorpion race. Captain, call the others over. I feel like there's nothing wrong here, Long Jin shouted to Night Sorrow, whose clone or main body is in the encampment. Bring the troops over and kill them. Night Sorrow shouted behind him. Then, his clones charged towards the Demon Scorpion race from different directions. He didn't defend at all. Because of the suppression of the precept domain and his tyrannical body, those with lower cultivation couldn't pose a threat to him. After 10 minutes, the First Army and the God-slaying team arrived. They began to kill the Demon Scorpion race that had lost their will to fight. 4 hours later, the Demon Scorpion race's troops were gone. Half of them had been killed and the other half had run away. Night Sorrow led the group forward and found a special enchantment that he could enter. Heavenly Concubine and Willing Concubine could enter as well. The others who approached were pushed back by the impact of the energy. Tianyu, who didn't believe it, was almost injured. It's the enchantment of the World Tree. We can't force our way in. Alright, everyone set up camp here. Night Sorrow gave the order to set up camp. If they wanted to get close to the World Tree, they couldn't force their way in. Night Sorrow knew this. Tran Hung had already told him. If they could force their way in, Tran Hung and Scorpion Kuang would have gotten close. They wouldn't have waited for them to arrive. Night Sorrow looked at the World Tree in the distance. The World Tree was too big. Night Sorrow estimated that the World Tree covered an area with a radius of more than 10,000 miles. The central area was hazy and couldn't be explored. It was blocked by layers of space. Night Sorrow, I tried just now. Although I can enter, the resistance is very strong. What about you? Heavenly Concubine looked at Night Sorrow and asked. At first there was. When I activated the virtuous immortal body, which should be called the virtuous Tao body now, the pressure decreased, Night Sorrow said. Heavenly Concubine thought for a moment and said, it seems that you still have a big advantage. The possibility of me getting close to Willing Concubine is lower. Chapter 22-22. They had just fought a battle. Although the battle wasn't very intense, everyone was exhausted. Every cultivator had the awareness to fight in their best condition. If they couldn't solve the problem in their best condition, then it was because they weren't strong enough. There was no regret. After everyone recovered, Night Sorrow let Wu Lingfei's doppelganger stay behind with Long Jin to command the team. He brought Heavenly Concubine and Wu Lingfei's original body in. Captain, be careful. Long Jin looked at Night Sorrow and said, you'll have to work harder with the team. Safety comes first. Everything else is trivial, Yishan said to Long Jin. Long Jin nodded. After being brothers for so long, Long Jin understood Night Sorrow. He knew what Night Sorrow cared about the most. Tianyu, Yimei, Liangyu cooperate with Long Jin. After Night Sorrow said that, he led Heavenly Concubine and Wu Lingfei towards the barrier of trees. Then the three of them passed through the barrier. The difference? They can go in, but we don't even have the right to. Ling Long sighed. Back in the day she, Night Sorrow, and Yun Huang were the leaders of the younger generation in Tianji Tower. Now there was a difference between her and Yun Huang, but it wasn't big. However, the difference between her and Night Sorrow was indescribable. Let's not look at the captain. Let's look at the others. We're already doing very well, Lei Bao said with a smile. Ling Long nodded. In fact, there weren't many cultivators in the celestial realm who were stronger than Night Sorrow, let alone them. Let's set up camp here. Also let the spies out. We don't want other cultivators to suddenly appear and catch us off guard. That would be embarrassing, Long Jin said. Following Long Jin's arrangement, the team started to set up camp. The spies were also sent out. Safety came first. They weren't in the 9-domain world and they weren't in the celestial realm. They had to be on guard. Imperial concubine, do you have any other arrangements? Long Jin looked at Wu Lingfei and asked. Whether it was the former members of the god-slaying team or those who had joined later, they all had a good relationship with Wu Lingfei and respected her greatly. You've done a good job. I'm not as good as you in these matters. You can make the decision. Wu Lingfei smiled. Everyone is worried about you. If anything happens, let us know. Long Jin nodded at Wu Lingfei. After Night Sorrow's trio entered the barrier, they started moving forward. Each of them had a different feeling. Night Sorrow, there's a lot of pressure. Wu Lingfei said. Should I try adding soul power into my domain? Night Sorrow said. He and the heavenly concubine had precept domains, while Wu Lingfei was at the Imperial Tribulation realm and had yet to come into contact with precept domains. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Wu Lingfei did as she was told. When her soul force was added to the domain, the pressure was reduced. The so-called spirituality is mainly in the soul. Only by releasing your soul force can you display your spirituality to the fullest, Night Sorrow said. The heavenly concubine also released her soul force. Her cultivation was high, but the pressure had little to do with her cultivation. It mainly depended on her spirituality. The world tree suppression on her was also very strong. On the other hand, Night Sorrow was much better. At the beginning he didn't use any defense. The world tree's energy attacked his body, but it passed after a while. There was only a small amount of pressure. The heavenly concubine and Wu Lingfei naturally saw Night Sorrow's situation. They knew that this was the power of merit. The heavenly Tao and all living things recognized him. The world tree was no exception. I really can't be envious. The heavenly concubine shook her head. Night Sorrow's path couldn't be copied by others. He had a good foundation. After having the foundation of a body of merit, he cultivated his body in virtue. He had been benefiting the living beings around him, causing his merit to constantly deepen. The three of them advanced very slowly. Night Sorrow's situation aside, Wu Lingfei and the heavenly concubine couldn't. They were greatly suppressed. Unspecified currency look. Regular A edition. K Super D / there's no danger here. Let's move forward slowly, said Night Sorrow. It's not absolute. There are many life forms that covet the world tree. Some of them are born with it. There's black and white in the world. Life forms are also opposites. The world tree is a Holy Spirit object. It's very easy for it to be accompanied by something. It's definitely incomparably evil. If it's born with the world tree, then it must be inside the world tree barrier. We have to be careful, said the heavenly concubine. She had lived for 9 eras. 900 billion years was an extremely long time. Therefore, Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei couldn't compare to her. She understood some things. Then it seems that we have to be careful. Night Sorrow didn't expect this situation. Yes. The world tree grows by absorbing the energy in the void. When it absorbs energy, it will also be absorbed by the life forms near it. Therefore it will definitely grow quickly. We have to be careful. The appearance of the world tree is a great opportunity, but it's also a great risk, said the heavenly concubine. Night Sorrow nodded. Then he released his merit Tao domain and wrapped it around the heavenly concubine and Wu Lingfei, hoping to reduce the pressure on them. In fact, the effect wasn't obvious. The energy in the world tree barrier was like a wave that constantly slammed in all directions. Night Sorrow's merit Tao domain was also permeated by this energy. This energy didn't suppress Night Sorrow, but it continued to suppress the heavenly concubine and Wu Lingfei. The world tree spirituality is too strong. It has a natural ability to distinguish. Therefore this kind of thing can't be hidden. It's just like how it can't be hidden from the spatial world, said the heavenly concubine. In the beginning, Night Sorrow had mentioned using a spatial treasure, but the heavenly concubine had clearly said that it couldn't be done. Spatial treasures couldn't resist the permeation of the world's origin power. It was the same principle as if someone used a spatial treasure to bring a cultivator who exceeded Night Sorrow's cultivation into the 9 regions world. It couldn't be hidden from detection. Now, Night Sorrow couldn't help Wu Lingfei and the heavenly concubine even if he wanted to. Then get behind me. My body can block some of the energy's repulsion. Night Sorrow took 2 steps forward and stood in front of Wu Lingfei and the heavenly concubine. It was effective. Because the energy in the world tree barrier was weak against Night Sorrow's body blocked it, and the power was greatly reduced. Heavenly concubine, the world tree can control such a vast amount of energy in the world tree barrier. How strong is she? Night Sorrow didn't quite understand because the energy in the world tree barrier was too vast and majestic. It's hard to say. She's naturally good at controlling power. You know my cultivation. Even if I force it, it's useless. I'll definitely be repelled. You see the wavy lines in front? They can fold space at any time. It's impossible to force it, explained the heavenly concubine to Night Sorrow. Chapter 22-23. Night Sorrow was in front, leading the heavenly concubine and Wu Lingfei forward. However, their speed was very slow. Even if they could withstand it, Night Sorrow couldn't ignore the energy suppression in the world of trees. While moving forward, Night Sorrow also released his soul power to investigate. The heavenly concubine said there was danger, so he had to be careful. After 2,000 miles, another obstacle appeared. It was a spatial barrier. It was the world tree's second line of defense. The first was the world of trees boundary, and the second was the overlapping space. Night Sorrow used his spacetime power to tear open space and continue forward. After 3,000 miles, Night Sorrow saw the spatial barrier. After tearing it open before Night Sorrow could continue forward, Wu Lingfei made Night Sorrow look back. When he looked back, Night Sorrow knew why Wu Lingfei was surprised. It was because through the wavy line, Night Sorrow saw the footprints he left when he tore open space. 3,000 miles is just a line? Night Sorrow turned to look at the heavenly concubine. Yes, this is the virtual space. It looks like a line to us, but it's not like that inside. It's the same principle as a storage ring. This is the world tree's defense method. If the world tree matures, then this virtual space will be infinitely large. This 3,000 miles is an immature method, said the heavenly concubine. Night Sorrow looked at the countless lines in front of him and felt a headache coming on. They were all spatial worlds. It was very difficult to pass through them. This is a difficult task in itself. The heavenly concubine shook her head at Night Sorrow. She was afraid that Night Sorrow would lose confidence. Night Sorrow continued forward with the heavenly concubine and Wu Lingfei. Night Sorrow didn't use any energy to protect himself. Now he used his Merit Dao body to counteract the impact of the pressure. Heavenly concubine and Wu Ling concubine who were behind Yi Shang felt less pressure. They knew that Yi Shang was doing this to lessen their pressure. If it wasn't for the fact that their chances would increase, they wouldn't have needed to follow. Night Sorrow, there are so many spatial lines. It's very difficult. Wu Lingfei said. I'll take care of this. If there's a fight, we'll fight together. Night Sorrow nodded to Wu Lingfei. Night Sorrow kept rushing forward, crossing one spatial line after another. In reality, he had only advanced less than 1,000 miles. The world tree's ability to control the world origin is too strong. It's very difficult to get close to it, Night Sorrow said as he flew. Although Night Sorrow felt pressure while flying, he felt that his body was very smooth. What was attacking his body was the world's origin energy. It was a baptism for his body, a rare opportunity. Of course, not just anyone could do it. The heavenly concubine and Wu Ling concubine didn't dare to let this energy attack them. The world's origin energy was too tyrannical and would harm their bodies. Although it was difficult, Night Sorrow was very excited. He knew what the world tree was and what it represented. Not to mention taking the whole tree, even taking a root was incredible. With such an opportunity in front of him, he naturally had to give it his all. As Night Sorrow flew forward, the Celestial Realm's 100 races and Scarlet Sky Realm's 100 races fought. The Celestial Realm's 100 races sent out all their elites and launched a thunderous attack on Scarlet Sky Realm. The main reason was to end the battle before the Demon Wing clan received the news. This way they could focus on defending against the Demon Wing clan. In addition, Demon Wing clan's Emo Zhantian had been chased by King Yewu and was severely injured. It would be difficult for him to recover in a short period of time. The Celestial Realm's 100 Races elites, under the leadership of Tran Hung and King Yewu, did not use any strategy. They directly attacked Scarlet Sky City. Tran Hung fought with Yu Qing. King Yewu directly suppressed Tang Bing's attack. King Tian Xing, Blood Lin King, and White Tiger King directly slaughtered the other elites of Scarlet Sky Realm. After seeing the strength of the Celestial Realm's 100 Races, Yu Qing's face changed. Shameless, you have such power. Why are you still talking about peace with us? In Yu Qing's mind, Tran Hung came to negotiate because they were not strong enough. Tran Hung was a tribulation of 9 emperors cultivator. It was difficult for a single person to make a boat. But now it was not the case at all. I gave you a chance to coexist peacefully. But if you don't want to, then all of you can die. Tran Hung waved the long sword in his hand and began to suppress Yu Qing. $$ original de Butron Hung was the city lord of Heavenly Baron City. He was the leader of the 100 Races of Celestial Realm. He was also the most powerful person. Yu Qing was suppressed directly. Tang Bing was a tribulation of 8 emperors cultivator. His strength was relatively strong, but he was not enough in front of King Yewu. King Yewu's 3 clones of tribulation of 9 emperors was cultivated as one. How could he resist? After the fight, King Yewu destroyed his original body in an instant. His clone realized that the situation was not good. It did not run far before it was restrained by White Tiger King. White Tiger King was not Tang Bing's opponent, but it could still restrain him. When Tang Bing repelled White Tiger King, King Yewu also caught up. What awaited Tang Bing was the fate of death. Tang Bing originally thought that discovering the Supreme World was an opportunity. He did not expect that it would be a dead end. King Yewu, who had killed Tang Bing, cooperated with Tran Hung, who had suppressed Yu Qing, and began to attack Yu Qing. This was a war, not a personal competition. So there was no face or morality. Knowing that the situation was not good, Yu Qing shouted, "Retreat. We, the Crimson Knight Realm, will not invade your world in the future." Tran Hung and King Yewu did not speak, but the attacks in their hands were very fast. They could cooperate when the war was not started. Now that they had fallen out, the most important thing was to eliminate the threat. Yu Qing was not a match for either Tran Hung or King Yewu, let alone now that the two of them had joined forces. His situation was precarious. After a while, Tran Hung's sword cut off his left arm. Then King Yewu's divine spear pierced through his back. A big hole was blasted from his shoulder to his chest. Knowing that he would die if he did not run, Yu Qing used his soul to leave his body. He used the self-destruction of his flesh to escape. Break. Yu Qing's soul ran very fast, but King Yewu's divine spear was even faster. The flying spear directly penetrated his soul, and more than half of his soul power was annihilated in one shot. "I am irreconcilable with you," Empress Li said. Before Tran Hung and King Yewu arrived, Yu Qing's soul flew away quickly again. "We are not afraid of you when you are at your peak. Why would we be afraid of your soul without a body? If you dare to appear again, we will kill you." Tran Hung's voice rumbled in the space. It was a warning to Yu Qing. "Yewu, you take people to clean up here. I will go back to Tianhuang City first. It is too empty there." Tran Hung said. He still could not let go of Tianhuang City because it was the gateway to the war with the Demon Wing clan. Chapter 22-24. After Tran Hung left, King Yewu led his men to clean up the Crimson Sky Realm. The Crimson Sky Realm was not very large and was relatively close to the mysterious Sky Realm in the 9 Sky World group, so it was not very difficult to clean it up. Night Sorrow did not know about these things, but he was more at ease. Tran Hung and King Yewu were fighting together, so it would be a violent battle. Even if there were casualties in the battle, it would be over quickly, and it would not have much impact on the war between the Celestial Realm and the Demon Winged clan. In fact, the spies sent by Mo Yuqing really received the news, mainly because the Celestial Realm had mobilized a lot of troops this time. After Mo Yuqing passed the news back, Mo Zhantian felt that it was an opportunity and immediately notified Mo Yutian. The two planned to break into the Celestial Realm. What was the result? The result was that the two were repelled by Tran Hung. If not for the fortress of the Demon Imperial City, it would be difficult for the two to come out unscathed. This situation made Mo Zhantian very angry, but he did not blame Mo Yuqing. He was sure that the Heavenly Wasteland City was relatively empty. The news was correct, but with Tran Hung there, it was impossible for the Demon Winged clan to take it down. Mo Zhantian was a little nostalgic. If the 3 great heavens were here, Then the three of them would fight together and take down the heavenly wasteland city now. Mo Zhantian was very clear about Mo Tianji's battle strength. After instructing Mo Yuqing to continue to scout for information, Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian went into seclusion again. This time the unlucky Mo Zhantian was once again struck by Tran Hung. Tran Hung was also more fortunate. He had only returned to the heavenly wasteland city for 6 hours, and the demon-winged clan had already attacked. If the battle in the Crimson Sky realm had really delayed him, or if he had returned a little later, the consequences would have been serious. In the world of trees, Night Sorrow was shuttling through the Sumeru space. Ordinary people might be annoyed, but Night Sorrow was not. He knew that he had to be patient at this time. There were many Sumeru worlds, but there would always be an end. If there was no change, he would still pass through these space lines. Night Sorrow Lin Yun's true body, which was originally in seclusion, has come out. She received some good news. The battle in the Scarlet Night realm is nearing its end. The Vice-Realm Lord of the Scarlet Night realm was killed. The Realm Lord's body was destroyed, and more than half of his soul force was annihilated. The other legions of Crimson World are being wiped out. Wu Lingfei, whose doppelganger was in the camp of the God-slaying squad, heard some news from Lin Yun's doppelganger. Good news? The Crimson Sky realm is a hidden danger. It can be said that there is no threat now. That Realm Lord's body was destroyed and more than half of his soul was destroyed. For a short period of time, there shouldn't be any threat. Night Sorrow said. He was also relieved in his heart. There is another worrying matter. After dealing with the Realm Lord and Vice-Realm Lord of the Crimson Sky realm, Lord Tran Hung returned to the Heavenly Wasteland City. Not long after, Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian of the Demon-Winged clan came to attack. Fortunately, they were repelled by Tran Hung. If Lord Tran Hung returned late, the consequences would be unimaginable. Wu Lingfei said. It seems that the spies of the Demon-Winged clan are still very active. This is a great danger, but it won't be easy to eliminate them. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and said, I don't know who is commanding the spies of the Demon-Winged clan in the Celestial realm. They should have some brains. Heavenly Concubine said. Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian are not brainless people. The leader of the spies they sent to the Celestial realm must be good at scheming. In addition, they can also directly command. Night Sorrow said. Should be, but they shouldn't be able to hide for long. As long as they are active, there will be flaws. I'm just afraid that they won't be active. Wu Lingfei said. She was the domain lord of the Eastern Shen domain of the 9-domain world. As a commander, some of her analytical abilities were very strong. She also had some foresight. Imperial Concubine's insight is also a cut above others. That is the truth. If they don't move, there won't be any flaws. As long as they are active, it will be easy to catch them. Heavenly Concubine looked at Wu Lingfei and said, Heavenly Concubine, this is just my personal opinion. Wu Lingfei said with a smile. As they chatted, Night Sorrow continued to move forward. He realized that his body was still evolving. Its strength was still at the level of the tribulation of the 4 emperors, but its charm was different. Night Sorrow could feel that its flexibility had increased a lot. After entering another space, Night Sorrow and the other two encountered an enemy. It was a demonic beast with a destructive aura around it. This is a fierce jackal. It is good at soul attacks and illusions. Heavenly Concubine said. Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei didn't recognize this demonic beast that had just appeared. This demonic beast was covered in black fur. Its limbs, knees, legs and facial features were full of scales. Its ugly face was full of smiles. That smile was somewhat unreal, but it was very terrifying. Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei quickly set up a defense in the Divine Sea. They knew that Heavenly Concubine wouldn't speak without thinking. The fierce jackal in front of them was frighteningly strong. Night Sorrow could see that it was the cultivation level of the tribulation of the 7 emperors. Look at 01 R edition, Chapter Z Section S Section. While Night Sorrow and the other two were defending, the fierce jackal began to attack. It directly pounced at Night Sorrow and the other two. Night Sorrow's right hand shook, and the Samsara halberd pierced out. It was directly the beginning of the Great Destruction slash. The difference in strength between him and the fierce jackal was huge, so he used his ultimate move. Whoosh! Night Sorrow's attack missed. The fierce jackal swept past Night Sorrow and its sharp claws scratched Night Sorrow's shoulder. It tore Night Sorrow's robe apart and left 5 claw marks on his left shoulder. The fierce jackal didn't tear Night Sorrow's body apart, but some of its energy still rushed into Night Sorrow's flesh and caused a certain amount of damage. Then, Night Sorrow's Merit Tao body activated and forced the energy out of his body. Be careful. The heavenly concubine took out her long sword and prepared for battle. She didn't make a move directly because the fighting power she could display was limited. The amount of energy she could display here determined the amount of suppression and rejection she would receive. However, the vicious jackal was different. The vicious jackal itself was a product of this world. After Night Sorrow withstood the fierce jackal's first move, he quickly released his Tao domain. He had to use his Tao domain to suppress the fierce jackal's speed. Inside the Tao domain, his speed could also increase. After using his Tao domain, Night Sorrow's speed increased. Although he was still a bit slower than the fierce jackal, he could already deal with the fierce jackal's attacks. The fierce jackal's facial features squeezed together. Its terrifying smile constantly seeped into the hearts of Night Sorrow and the other two. At the same time, it let out chattering laughter. Illusion mental attack. Night Sorrow knew that the fierce jackal's smile and laughter were attacks. Those who were timid would be scared to the point of their soul collapsing. Night Sorrow's Samsara halberd kept attacking. At the same time, he was thinking of a way to defeat the fierce jackal. He was indeed in a passive position. Chapter 22-25. Night Sorrow nodded and then used Soul Extinguishing Slash. Night Sorrow's Soul Extinguishing Slash was fast enough, but it was blocked by the fierce jackal's soul defense. The fierce jackal's soul attack was strong, but its defense was different from the heavenly concubine's estimation. Night Sorrow's Soul Extinguishing Slash didn't cut through its defense, but the negative illusion produced by the Soul Extinguishing Slash still affected it. The battle became a battle of soul illusions and negative states. Night Sorrow's soul illusion was a negative attack. It was to make the opponent indulge in it and lose the ability to fight. The fierce jackal's soul attack was a terrifying influence. Its laughter and laughter were like a nightmare, attacking Night Sorrow and the other two's minds. This was because the heavenly concubine's soul level was high, so she wasn't affected too much. Wu Lingfei had her racial talent, so her soul defense wasn't bad. Night Sorrow had the 9-domain origin pearls defense, so the fierce jackal's terrifying soul attack didn't have any effect. If it was any other cultivator, even if their cultivation was higher than fierce jackal's, they would still be out of luck. This was because once they lost their mind, even if fierce jackal didn't use any other attacks, the terrifying nightmarish soul attack would cause their soul to collapse. After the soul attack, the pressure on Night Sorrow and the other two lessened a bit. When the fierce jackal was defending, the terrifying nightmare attack's power was also reduced a bit. Merit Primordial Tao Domain. Night Sorrow released the power of Merit to support his Primordial Tao Domain. Then he used Space Crack continuously to restrict the fierce jackal's movement speed and position. Next he used Primordial Shattering Slash. After the terrifying soul attack was ineffective, and its speed and movement space were restricted, the fierce jackal panicked a bit. It panicked because it was afraid of the heavenly concubine. It had the cultivation of the tribulation of 7 emperors, so it was afraid of the heavenly concubine. While the fierce jackal was thinking, Night Sorrow's attack arrived. Following a muffled sound, one of the fierce jackal's front claws was annihilated by the energy of Night Sorrow's reincarnation halberd. Night Sorrow's primordial attribute and the reincarnation halberd's destruction attribute wasn't something the fierce jackal could withstand. The fierce jackal was good at soul attack and speed, but its body strength and the energy inside its dantian weren't outstanding. Therefore, it was at a disadvantage when facing Night Sorrow's all-out attack. Shadow Body, Spacetime Realm. After injuring the fierce jackal, Night Sorrow used his movement technique. In an instant he instantly chased after the flying jackal and attacked again. At this moment, the fierce jackal was still suffering damage from Night Sorrow's attacks. Its body flew backward and it couldn't use its speed. It could only use its claws to block again. With another muffled sound, the vicious jackal's other front paw was destroyed by Yi Shang. However, when the vicious jackal was sent flying, it used its hind legs to kick Yi Shang's abdomen and chest. Then it used the momentum to fly, recklessly rushing out of the spatial world. Under Yi Shang's soul force's detection, it entered another spatial line. This guy is too scary. Yi Shang, are you okay? Wu Lingfei asked Yi Shang. At that moment, Night Sorrow was in a sorry state. The fierce jackal's final kick was something he had completely endured. His precept domain had been shattered, and his robes had been torn apart. 2 bloody wounds had appeared on his chest and abdomen. His internal organs had been shaken, causing him to spit out a mouthful of blood. "I'm a little injured. This fellow is indeed very powerful. Its terrifying soul attack can seep into the depths of our souls. If we can't withstand it, our minds will collapse," Night Sorrow said with a nod. "Yes. If your soul defense is weak, even if you are only affected if you don't handle it well, its terrifying laughter and voice will become a heart demon and nightmare. It will stay in your heart forever," said Heavenly Concubine. Night Sorrow got Heavenly Concubine and Wu Lingfei to wait for him. He entered the Clear Sky Pagoda and began to recover with time acceleration. The fierce jackal's attack before it fled was very heavy. If it was an ordinary cultivator of the Four Emperors' tribulation, I'm afraid they would have died, said Heavenly Concubine as she looked at the Clear Sky Pagoda that stood to the side. "I can't help much." "Really?" Wu Lingfei shook her head helplessly. She felt very powerless. She had seen the battle very clearly and knew that it was useless even if she helped. Translator, Timothy Undereditor, Globeglotter. I can fight, but the result is that I will be repelled by the energy of the world of trees after I attack. Heavenly Concubine shook her head. Their current situation was different from Night Sorrow's. Night Sorrow had the Merit Dao body and Merit Dao domain, so he could suppress the energy produced by the battle. It wouldn't cause any major problems and there wouldn't be any side effects. However, Heavenly Concubine and Wu Lingfei's battle had this drawback. Wu Lingfei and Heavenly Concubine stood motionless. When they didn't move, the repelling force they received wasn't too serious. They just stood there and waited for Night Sorrow to recover. While he was healing, Night Sorrow realized that not only were his internal organs shaken, but he was also poisoned. The fierce jackal's claws were extremely poisonous. When the fierce jackal used its strength to kick, it left 2 bloody wounds on his chest and abdomen. Then the poison began to invade his body. He didn't pay too much attention at that time, but now he realized the existence of the poison. After activating the Merit Dao body, Night Sorrow realized that the fierce jackal's claws contained a very strong poison. It constantly collided with the reincarnation energy in his body. The poison wanted to destroy his body, but the reincarnation energy in his body blocked it near his wounds, not allowing it to take any further action. In a stalemate, Night Sorrow's reincarnation energy could only suppress the fierce jackal's poison and prevent it from spreading. It was more difficult to get rid of it. It's still very stubborn. Fire of Virtue. After muttering, Night Sorrow activated the Fire of Virtue to burn the flesh near his wounds. After the Fire of Virtue appeared, it rushed towards the already black flesh. Night Sorrow controlled the Fire of Virtue so that it wouldn't harm his own flesh. It began to burn and remove the foreign matter inside his flesh. The Fire of Virtue was the most yang, the most unyielding and the most righteous fire. The fierce jackal's poison was and evil enough, but it still couldn't contend against the Fire of Virtue. It was slowly forced to retreat. Night Sorrow's chest emitted black smoke. The black smoke squeaked, but after being surrounded by the Fire of Virtue on the surface of Night Sorrow's body, it couldn't run away. After waiting for a while and seeing that Night Sorrow didn't come out, the Heavenly Concubine and Wu Lingfei rushed towards the Clear Sky Pagoda. Night Sorrow's Clear Sky Pagoda was open to the 2 of them. They could freely enter and exit. After entering the Clear Sky Pagoda, the Heavenly Concubine and Wu Lingfei saw an astonishing scene. Night Sorrow's upper body was naked. There were 2 pitch-black wounds on his chest and abdomen. The wounds were squirming like 2 black poisonous snakes lying there. Moreover, black smoke was constantly emitting from the wounds. The black smoke was squirming inside the flames as if it was alive. It wasn't as if it was alive. If one looked carefully, the black smoke was alive. After being burned by the Fire of Virtue, the black smoke emitted a terrifying sound that made one's heart tremble and teeth turn cold. "Let's go out." The Heavenly Concubine pulled Wu Lingfei out of the Clear Sky Pagoda. Heavenly Concubine, Night Sorrow was poisoned? Wu Lingfei's face was full of shock. She didn't know what that terrifying black smoke was, but she felt that it was poison. Chapter 22-26. The Heavenly Concubine pulled Wu Lingfei out of the Clear Sky Pagoda as she was worried that Wu Lingfei would be affected by the poison. Just by looking at it, she knew that there was something wrong with the poison. Night Sorrow has the body of merit and the fire of merit. He will be fine. Let's wait for a while. Wu Lingfei shook her head. Although she was very worried about Night Sorrow, she had to comfort the Heavenly Concubine first since the Heaven's fate was blaming herself. The Heavenly Concubine nodded. she naturally understood Wu Lingfei's good intentions. Night Sorrow realized that the poison in the poisonous jackal's claws was very overbearing. It even had intelligence and self-awareness. Its subjective consciousness was to destroy its own body, and those that were forced out of its body wanted to run away. Night Sorrow's fire of merit kept burning in his body, forcing the poison out of his body. Those that were forced out of his body were wrapped in the fire of merit, but he did not continue to burn them. If he increased the intensity of the burning, the poison would struggle fiercely. This way Night Sorrow would not be able to focus on healing. This was a very long process. The heavenly concubine and Wu Lingfei waited for 4 days. Half a year had passed in the Clear Sky Pagoda's time acceleration. The two ladies anxiously entered the Clear Sky Pagoda again. They were really worried about Night Sorrow. When they saw Night Sorrow again, they realized that Night Sorrow's condition was much better. The wound on his abdomen was gone, and there was only a black spot on his chest. On top of Night Sorrow's head was a pitch-black poisonous snake, but it was wrapped in the fire of merit. This is no longer a poison, it is a poison spirit. Luckily, Night Sorrow has the fire of merit. Otherwise, even the 7 Sovereigns' Tribulation or 8 Sovereigns' Tribulation's cultivation would be unlucky if the poison spirit touched him. He would have to give up his body and die under the 7 Sovereigns' Tribulation. Seeing that Night Sorrow was fine, the heavenly concubine felt more at ease as she explained to Wu Lingfei how powerful this poison spirit was. Seeing that Wu Lingfei did not understand, Mo Qinji explained to her what a poison spirit was and why it was so overbearing. The so-called spirit meant that it had some spirituality and had its own thoughts. The poison spirit was a poisonous creature that had its own consciousness and thoughts. Naturally, it was extremely domineering. When it came into contact with other things, it would erode them. Once it was done, it would become nutrients for its growth. Ordinary poison spirits could only erode the cultivator's body. The more powerful ones would enter the cultivator's soul through the body and destroy the cultivator's soul. The poison spirit above Night Sorrow's head should be a high-level poison spirit. Night Sorrow's body is very strong. He did not give it a chance to enter the divine sea after it took over his body, the heavenly concubine said as she looked at the black snake above Night Sorrow's head. What is the relationship between the poison spirit and the poison jackal? Wu Lingfei asked. They were born to complement each other. The poisonous jackal is a naturally poisonous creature, and the poison spirit was born to depend on it. Just now, the poisonous jackal ran away quickly, and the poison spirit entered Night Sorrow's body and did not leave in time. This resulted in the current situation. It looks like this poison spirit cannot escape, said the heavenly concubine as she looked at the fire of merit on Night Sorrow's body. Feeling that he was almost there, Night Sorrow no longer used the fire of virtue to defend himself. Instead, he wrapped up the remaining poison in his chest and separated it from his body along with a small pinch of flesh. At this moment, all the poison in Night Sorrow's body had been cleansed completely. Night Sorrow opened his eyes and looked at the poison spirit above his head. Then he nodded at Wu Lingfei and the heavenly concubine. Do any of you know what this thing is? It is very difficult to deal with. If we are not careful, we will lose our lives. Stay away from it. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. The heavenly concubine told Night Sorrow everything she knew. It was born from heaven and earth. It looks like it has a strong background. Luckily, the fire of merit is its nemesis. Otherwise, I really would not know how to deal with it. Not only is this fellow poisonous, but it also has the same destructive attribute as the vicious jackal. Night Sorrow narrowed his eyes as he sized up the poison spirit, who was moving back and forth within the fire of merit. That is not a vicious jackal, it is a poisonous jackal. It is even scarier than the vicious jackals recorded in history books. That thing is very vengeful and is also very smart. I think it will not let this matter rest and will take revenge on us, the heavenly concubine said. It is too fast, it is very difficult to deal with it. Once the poison spirit leaves it, it will no longer have any poison in its body. It will be less of a threat. The next time it comes, we will think of a way to kill it. Night Sorrow could not think of a way to deal with that poisonous jackal. As long as we can control it, it will be easy to deal with it. Next time, Night Sorrow, use your human emperor's seal to suppress it and then control its movements. This way we will be able to use small amounts of energy to attack it. The heavenly concubine said what Jiang Yi was thinking. Night Sorrow nodded as he continued to control the fire of merit and started to burn the poison spirit. The poison spirit was too domineering, it was a scourge. Jiang Yi had to get rid of it. Also, there was no way he could subdue it. The poison spirit had some spiritual intelligence, but it was not so intelligent that it would listen to orders. It was just that it could instinctively attack. With the help of the human sovereign seal and the canon of merit, Yi Shang spent 2 months refining the 2 poison spirits. In the end he left behind a pearl. The heavenly concubine told Night Sorrow that the pearl was a treasure. It depended on how it was used. The poison pearl could release poison and also absorb hundreds of poisons. If someone was poisoned, they could use the poison pearl to absorb the poison. Night Sorrow gave the poison pearl to Wu Lingfei. He had the merit Dao body and was almost invulnerable to poison. The heavenly concubine's cultivation level was high. She could also ignore some poisons. The 3 of them exited the clear sky pagoda and continued to move forward. However, they were much more careful now. A poisonous jackal was already so ferocious. If they were not careful, they could easily fall. When they entered the second spatial world, the heavenly concubine sent a voice transmission to Night Sorrow that the poisonous jackal was tailing them. It is like a haunting soul. What a detestable nightmare. I want to tear that terrifying face apart. Night Sorrow cursed in a low voice. The poisonous jackal's squeezing face with an evil smile made him feel extremely disgusted. Its face and voice can cause fear and irritation in the bottom of your heart. Pay attention and don't be affected. Let's see how we cooperate to kill it. The heavenly concubine said. Night Sorrow was thinking of a solution. If this poisonous jackal was not dealt with, it would be a disaster sooner or later. It was too vengeful. If they were not careful, it would be easy to be ambushed by it. Could even jump out and bite them during other battles. This guy is too cautious and smart. How can we let it take the bait? Wu Lingfei said. The 3 of them knew that this was a problem. Jackals have a weakness, and that is their lust. They are all incomparably lustful. The heavenly concubine's voice was a bit low. Oh, I won't consider that. Night Sorrow hesitated for a moment. He could not let the heavenly concubine or Wu Lingfei go and seduce that disgusting poisonous jackal. Night Sorrow, you're thinking too much. It won't succeed. I'll do it. The heavenly concubine smiled and said, No one can do it. I'll think of a way to solve this. Night Sorrow looked at the heavenly concubine and shook his head. Whether it was the heavenly concubine or Wu Lingfei, he would not allow such a strategy. Chapter 22-27. Night Sorrow, don't reject this idea. It's actually a strategy. When we enter the next spatial world, I'll change my appearance and hide my cultivation. I'll wait in one place while you guys wait in the spatial treasure. Once it takes the bait, you'll attack at the right time. Don't let its rotten claws touch me, or I'll be disgusted to death. The heavenly concubine smiled. Night Sorrow still wanted to say something, but the heavenly concubine shook her head. She felt that this method was feasible. She also wanted to help. She had pride in her heart. Before, she wasn't a weakling who followed behind anyone. She didn't want to be an irresponsible person in Night Sorrow's heart. Wu Lingfei also shook her head at Night Sorrow. We just need to be careful. That poisonous jackal can't threaten the heavenly concubine. Without saying anything else, Night Sorrow led the 2 women forward. After leaving this spatial world and entering the next spatial line, Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei entered the clear sky pagoda. The heavenly concubine put the pagoda in her robe and flew for a while before finding a place to rest. At the same time, she shook her energy and changed her appearance to Wu Lingfei's. She took off her veil and deliberately hid her cultivation. Then she took out a teapot to make tea. Wu Lingfei's soul power sensed all of this and let out a sigh. You're a very good friend. Actually, I'm the most suitable bait to lure that poisonous jackal. Heavenly concubine, you're worried that I'll be in danger, so you changed your appearance to replace me. Let's be more careful. Don't let her be in danger, not even a little bit. Night Sorrow said. Don't think too much about it, you two. Have you noticed? The closer we get to the world tree, the denser the energy in this space becomes. It really is a natural place for cultivation. The heavenly concubine's soul power communicated with Yi Shang through the clear sky pagoda. Yes, but the world tree doesn't reject it. How are you now? Night Sorrow asked. After entering this spatial world, Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei had entered the clear sky pagoda. They didn't have the time to experience this spatial world. The heavenly concubine sensed the space and said to Night Sorrow, the pressure is okay. It's mainly because I've covered my body with my soul power. I've pushed my spirituality to the max, so it's okay. If I fight and use more power than a high-level tribulation emperor, I'll be expelled. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. His doppelganger appeared from his body. Then he and his doppelganger both held weapons. He was ready to fight because the heavenly concubine couldn't use her true fighting strength right now. The venomous jackal had appeared, but it had used an illusion to hide itself in the folded space. If one didn't pay close attention, they wouldn't have noticed it. Night Sorrow and the other two had stopped by to deal with it. Naturally, they had discovered its tracks. The heavenly concubine was drinking tea while observing the surroundings. She even took out a cloud bed from her storage ring and leaned on it to rest. Heavenly concubine, your posture is really seductive. I think the venomous jackal won't be able to resist. Seeing the heavenly concubine's posture, Wu Lingfei smiled. She was mainly trying to ease the atmosphere. It's okay. Although there are some things I haven't experienced, I still know some things. The heavenly concubine didn't deny Wu Lingfei's words. She wanted to seduce the venomous jackal. Naturally, she had to work hard to achieve this goal. She could casually display a seductive posture. Although she knew that Night Sorrow was watching, she was a bit embarrassed. Heavenly concubine, it will pay a price. It will die an ugly death. Night Sorrow promised. He was a bit annoyed. The heavenly concubine had to pay a big price for a beast. Of course, Night Sorrow also knew that this wasn't just about killing the venomous jackal. The venomous jackal's existence was a threat to their next move. When other threats appeared, the venomous jackal would join forces with other opponents to deal with them. It was necessary to deal with it in advance. The venomous jackal slowly got closer. At the same time, it carefully probed. The venomous jackal was sly and cunning. The reason it wanted to chase after Night Sorrow and company was that it hated Night Sorrow a lot. Night Sorrow had destroyed its two front claws. Another reason was that the poison spirit had left it. Its poison's power had decreased greatly. It had to find the poison spirit. Amo Chinji lay on the cloud bed. She pressed the scabbard of her long sword under her body. She could draw her sword at any time. Seducing the venomous jackal was one thing. She also minded if the venomous jackal looked at her closely. Hence, when the time was right, she would strike. Night Sorrow's soul spirit spread out in the form of a Dao domain. He observed the venomous jackal's every move. The venomous jackal's disgusting, smiling face was locked on by him. Night Sorrow, don't get too worked up. Let it enter our attack range. We have to kill it in one strike. We cannot give it a second chance to escape. If you think I'm at a disadvantage when you smash its face, destroy its eyes as well. The heavenly concubine's eyes were naturally the venomous jackal's eyes. I will. I'll smash its crooked mouth. If it still smiles, it won't be able to smile in the future. Night Sorrow nodded. The venomous jackal was very sly. However, its lust was its fatal weakness. When it noticed the heavenly concubine's presence and her alluring figure, it was slowly losing its sense of caution. Night Sorrow's grip on the samsara halberd tightened and relaxed. He was already prepared for battle. Disgusting. Wu Lingfei cursed. The venomous jackal was indeed shameless to a certain extent. In the illusion realm, its male characteristics were very obvious. It was very ugly. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. He was waiting to fight and kill. The heavenly concubine was also very angry. She somewhat regretted using this strategy because the venomous jackal's current appearance was blasphemy to her. It was an insult. The closer the venomous jackal got to the heavenly concubine, the lower its vigilance. The heavenly concubine was a woman who had lived for 9 eras. She understood human nature and beastly nature. Regardless of whether she raised her hand or raised her foot, it was filled with temptation. Of course, beneath this was an infinite killing intent. Only she knew the anger in her heart. When the venomous jackal pounced towards the heavenly concubine made her move. The long sword under her body drew an arc of lightning and pierced towards the venomous jackal's head. At this time, Night Sorrow appeared. His main body and avatar appeared at the same time. 2 soul-extinguishing slashes and 2 spatial rifts that restricted the venomous jackal's movement were released at the same time. Then, the samsara halberd used the beginning to shattering slash towards the venomous jackal. The avatar also used the blood Qilin vanquishing evil spear. The venomous jackal dodged the heavenly concubine's sword but was struck by Night Sorrow's samsara halberd. When it retreated, Night Sorrow's avatar's blood Qilin vanquishing evil spear pierced through its back. After the successful attack, Night Sorrow's avatar's left hand grabbed the venomous jackal's hind leg. After swinging it, he fiercely smashed it down. At the same time, he used his knee to smash it upwards. Following a cracking sound, the venomous jackal's ribs and sternum were broken by Night Sorrow's attack. Damn bastard, you dare to have ideas about anyone. A sword light flew towards the venomous jackal's crotch. Chapter 22-28. Accompanied by the pitiful cry of the poisonous jackal, its ugly thing flew out along with the sword light. Immediately after, it was cut into pieces by the heavenly concubine's second sword chi. Bastard, I will let you die, and I will not let you die a happy death. The heavenly concubine suppressed her anger, and with these two swords, she vented a bit of her anger. Night Sorrow's clone not only grabbed the poisonous jackal's hind legs with his left hand, but his right hand also let go of the blood-chilling execution evil spear. Both of his hands grabbed the poisonous jackal's hind legs and continuously smashed them. The ground was not hard enough, so Night Sorrow used his knee to smash it. Not only his clone, but his main body also came over and attacked the poisonous jackal with his clone. When Night Sorrow's clone smashed the poisonous jackal's head on his main body's knee, the poisonous jackal's face became a mess of flesh and blood. Night Sorrow's body was very tough and powerful. This was something that no cultivator could compare to. Even the Divine Beast clan could not compare to him. He used all of his strength to smash the poisonous jackal's head on his knee, causing the poisonous jackal's face to shatter and its skull to shatter. After knocking the poisonous jackal unconscious, Night Sorrow's main body Samsara halberd went for its head. Don't worry, I will kill it. The heavenly concubine reached out and stopped Night Sorrow. She wanted to do what she said. Seeing the heavenly concubine's angry and cold face, Night Sorrow's main body flashed. His left hand grabbed the blood-chilling execution evil spear that was still stuck in the poisonous jackal's back. Then he stabbed it into the ground and used all of his strength to grab the legs of the poisonous jackal. Wu Lingfei, who had stabbed the poisonous jackal, also stopped. Only the heavenly concubine was left to kill. The poisonous jackal kept screaming and struggling, but because it was tightly controlled by Night Sorrow, it did not have a chance to escape. It could only passively be slashed by the heavenly concubine. Each slash brought great pain to it. The heavenly concubine was a woman, and a woman's nature was to hold grudges. The poisonous jackal looked at her with blasphemous eyes, causing her to be extremely angry. After slashing a few hundred times, she finally finished it off. Have you vented your anger? Night Sorrow looked at the heavenly concubine and asked. He was also very unhappy in his heart. Venting my anger, my mood is a lot better. Heavenly concubine said with a smile. Although she was still a bit angry, she understood that her emotions directly affected Yi Shang and Wu Lingfei, so she didn't show it. After putting the poisonous jackal's crystal core, the heavenly concubine also took a piece of the poisonous jackal's skull. Night Sorrow with the concubines of the heavenly concubine's skull core. Kam Devi, the true core with chi with the concubine is with Night Concubine. 4 #Yong #FGOC free look, /say I, these things Night, Dans Lu. Concubines concubine Night, Nights, Night concubines and concubine. What do I need these things for? They're useless to me. If I need more resources, I'll ask you again. The heavenly concubine smiled. She liked Night Sorrow's generosity. Night Sorrow didn't look at her with disdain at all. She was someone who had surrendered and swore to serve the 9-domain world. There was only respect. The heavenly concubine was very grateful for this. That's fine. Just tell me what you need. I'll definitely give it to you. If not, I'll think of a way. Night Sorrow said. Heavenly concubine, Night Sorrow is absolutely sincere to his friends. Of course, not everyone is qualified to be Night Sorrow's friend. Wu Lingfei said with a smile. Yes, this is the charm of personality and character. Otherwise, why is Night Sorrow the human emperor but not others? Because he's trustworthy. He's worthy of the trust of the billions of beings in the 9-domain world and the celestial realm. I'm no exception. The heavenly concubine nodded. Through her understanding, the heavenly concubine knew that Night Sorrow's character was excellent. Being friends with Night Sorrow was definitely a fortunate thing. You guys are praising me in front of my face. It's embarrassing. Let's continue forward. I feel that the repulsive force is weaker. Night Sorrow felt the energy around him. The repulsive force in that space was very strong. This space is very weak. It shouldn't be. The closer we get to the world tree, the stronger the repulsive force should be, the heavenly concubine said. Night Sorrow raised his head and looked at the world tree in the hazy space. He shook his head. He didn't understand the situation. It was his first time experiencing something like this. If the heavenly concubine didn't know, he naturally wouldn't know either. After pausing for a bit, the three of them continued forward. However, Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine released their soul power. They were worried about a sudden threat. After moving forward a few more spaces, Night Sorrow and the other two discovered that the repulsive force of the space's energy toward the heavenly concubine and Wu Lingfei was much weaker. However, it was still the same for Night Sorrow. It should be because we are getting closer to the world tree. She can feel your spirituality. That's why the repulsive force toward you is decreasing. For me, she already knew that I had the Virtue Dao body. That's why the repulsive force hasn't changed. After analyzing the situation, Night Sorrow gave his own conclusion. Perhaps that's the case. This is good. The two of us can relax a bit. The heavenly concubine nodded and said. Night Sorrow and the other two continued forward. They kept passing through the dense space lines. This allowed them to see the world tree's defensive power. The heavenly concubine told Night Sorrow that as long as the world tree wanted to, it could break through the virtual space. The creatures in the space, even if their cultivation was high, would be pushed into the space turbulence even if they weren't killed or heavily injured. This is the power of a peerless treasure. Perhaps it can't be described as a treasure. The world tree is the most miraculous life form in the world, Night Sorrow said. The heavenly concubine and Wu Lingfei agreed with what Night Sorrow said. The three of them didn't know what level the world tree was at, but they knew that the world tree was undeniably powerful. The heavenly concubine also told Night Sorrow that the world tree's defensive power was strong, but in terms of offensive power, it wasn't very strong. For example, the destruction of the space world wouldn't do much damage to the tribulation of the Seven Emperors. That was because the attack power wasn't enough. However, the world tree could prevent its opponents from getting close. If you broke a space line, it would create another one. This was why Tran Hung said that using force wouldn't work. Unless one was strong to a certain extent, they could destroy the space worlds that blocked their path. However, reaching that level was easier said than done. The heavenly concubine couldn't do it. We want the world tree to settle down in our world. We're here to invite her. There's no need to use force and fight with her, Night Sorrow said. Yes, we're here to invite her. We're not here to fight her. It would be best if we can convince her. The heavenly concubine nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow's idea was correct. The three of them kept moving forward. Life forms from the space worlds appeared frequently. Chapter 22-29. Night Sorrow's body was strong and could contain a lot of energy. This was something other cultivators couldn't compare to. For example, Night Sorrow could absorb the origin energy from the world tree, but the heavenly concubine and Wu Lingfei couldn't. Feeling his injured body, Yi Shang began to recover in the accelerated time inside the clear sky pagoda. He knew that the stronger his body was, the more helpful it would be for him in the future. If his body was truly immortal, then passing the God-destroying tribulation would only be a matter of his soul. This time Night Sorrow was seriously injured. It took 10 days in the real world but almost 2 years in the clear sky pagoda to fully recover. His body's strength had already reached the peak of the Fourth Emperor tribulation, surpassing his realm. Seeing Night Sorrow's condition, the heavenly concubine nodded with praise. According to the current trend, when you reach the 6th Emperor tribulation and the 7th Emperor tribulation, your body will be unparalleled. There's still a long way to go. Are you guys? Were you attacked in the past few days? Night Sorrow asked the heavenly concubine and Wu Lingfei. We were attacked twice but it wasn't serious. We can still fight by controlling our cultivation. However, you still have to bite the hard bone. The heavy burden is on you, the heavenly concubine said. She knew that the success of this trip depended on Night Sorrow. She felt that her and Wu Lingfei's chances weren't high. They were only halfway through the journey. If we work together, there's nothing we can't do. And Fei, send your clone back with the team. Tell Lin Yun to inform Tran Hung to pick you guys up. You guys will be easily attacked by the other races outside, Night Sorrow said to Wu Lingfei. Night Sorrow was worried. Putting aside the dangers inside the world of trees, some cultivators couldn't enter, but the god-killing team and the First Army were in danger. If people from other ancient worlds appeared, then they would become targets. It would be easy for them to be in big trouble. In Night Sorrow's heart, they were all his brothers and sisters. Nothing could happen to them. The entrance to the ancient world had a ceiling formation. Night Sorrow could bring his men in and out without any problems, but the others could not. Therefore, Night Sorrow asked Lin Yun, who was in Tianhuang City, to call for Tran Hung. Wu Ling concubine and heavenly concubine understood Night Sorrow's worries. They also knew how important siblings were to Night Sorrow. Wu Lingfei's clone notified Lin Yun and waited. After receiving the news, Tran Hung greeted King Ye Wu and took Lin Yun to the Misty Dynasty. They arrived at the entrance of the ancient world and brought the god-slaying team and the first troop back to the celestial realm. Tran Hung said to Wu Lingfei, "Imperial concubine, take your men and take a look around the celestial realm. The spies of the Demon Wing clan are still active. See if you can catch them. When I return, I will send Elder Zhai Xing and the Diviner to cooperate with you." Tran Hung, thank you for your concern. We will work hard. Wu Lingfei cupped her hands towards Tran Hung. Don't mention it. Your parents and I are friends. If it wasn't for the fact that I didn't want to embarrass Night Sorrow, you should have called me uncle. Tran Hung said with a smile. Night Sorrow called Wu Lingfei Auntie Wu Lingfei, so it wasn't easy to be Wu Lingfei's elder. It's two different things. Night Sorrow is friends with many elders in the celestial realm. If you really want to link them together, it will be very troublesome. Even Lingfei doesn't dare to. Wu Lingfei shook her head. She knew that Tran Hung and Night Sorrow were good friends. Tran Hung had always let Night Sorrow call him elder brother, but Night Sorrow respected him and didn't do so. In addition, in the celestial realm, Night Sorrow was the human emperor. No one dared to be Night Sorrow's elder, but no one could be Night Sorrow's elder. This was also related to fate and fate. If one didn't have virtue and merit, being the human emperor's elder would ruin one's fate. Wu Lingfei didn't have this concern. When Night Sorrow was weak, the two of them called each other that way. They also had that kind of relationship. When Night Sorrow practiced the doppelganger technique, he called Wu Lingfei Auntie. This was also recognized by the heavens. Okay, if there's anything, go to Tianhuang City and find Uncle. Tran Hung nodded to Wu Lingfei and left. This was a special time. He couldn't leave Tianhuang City for too long. Tianhuang City was an important place in the celestial realm. He couldn't afford to lose it. After knowing that the god-slaying team in the First Army had left the ancient world and that the ancient world was sealed again, Night Sorrow felt a lot more at ease. Night Sorrow's doppelganger led the way while his original body led the heavenly concubine and Wu Lingfei behind. Night Sorrow, now I understand why you can get along with your wives even though you have so many at home. It's because you're a trustworthy man. You have the responsibility of a man, said the heavenly concubine. Night Sorrow smiled and shook his head. He never lacked responsibility. If he had to shoulder something, he would shoulder it. After advancing for a while, the battle started again. Because the heavenly concubine and Wu Lingfei had released their spirituality, the repulsive force wasn't that strong. They could also fight. It feels good to be able to fight. I feel like after the battle, I can absorb some origin energy. It's not a lot and it won't harm my body. It's very beneficial, said Wu Lingfei. The heavenly concubine nodded. She had the same feeling. After the battle, when she absorbed energy after the battle, the energy contained origin energy. It seems like I need to fight more to improve. It's the same for me. When I fight, I use the energy in my body so that my body can absorb more origin energy. Night Sorrow nodded. He always had this feeling. He didn't say it out loud because he felt that the heavenly concubine and Wu Lingfei couldn't absorb origin energy. Look at the original Chapter 0 and the Three's goal was the World Tree. When they found that there was a battle that could be solved, they didn't retreat. Instead they started fighting. We're not in a hurry. Let's cultivate and advance. This is good, said Night Sorrow. As they advanced, Yi Shang and the other two experienced improvements. Not in terms of cultivation base or cultivation base, but in terms of life force and cultivation base quality. Their bodies and true energy now contain the essence of the world. This was something that would normally be very difficult to achieve, and they would never have the opportunity to do so. 2 months later, Night Sorrow and the other two had passed 2/3 of the virtual space set up by the World Tree. During these 2 months, the three of them fought almost every day. After another battle, Night Sorrow's cultivation level and true energy cultivation level didn't advance, but his body did. He had reached the level of tribulation of the 5 emperors, which surpassed both his true energy cultivation level and his soul cultivation level. Night Sorrow went into seclusion to stabilize his cultivation. Outside the clear sky pagoda, Wu Lingfei looked at the heavenly concubine. Heavenly concubine, I want to go through the tribulation. Can you guard me? Sure. Your cultivation exceeds your realm. If you suppress it too much, it will delay your cultivation speed. The heavenly concubine nodded. She could naturally see Wu Lingfei's situation. Wu Lingfei's realm was 7 Emperor Tribulation, but her actual cultivation was 9 Emperor Tribulation. This kind of suppression could stabilize her foundation, but it would slow her cultivation speed. Wu Lingfei was a talented golden phoenix. Even 8 Emperor Tribulation wasn't difficult for her, so she passed it smoothly. The demon beasts attracted by the lightning tribulation were destroyed by the heavenly concubine from afar. It didn't affect Wu Lingfei's tribulation. Wu Lingfei then entered the clear sky pagoda to stabilize her cultivation. At this time, Night Sorrow came out of seclusion. Chapter 2230. It was common knowledge that one's energy cultivation couldn't exceed one's realm. Wu Lingfei and some other cultivators who suppressed their lightning tribulations had cultivation that exceeded their realm, but in reality, it was just that they hadn't passed their lightning tribulations. Their soul realm was there. Night Sorrow's energy cultivation had exceeded the soul realm. It had truly broken the common sense of cultivation. Breaking this common sense was the legendary path to prove one's Tao through strength. This was also the reason why the heavenly concubine was shocked. A few days ago the energy in Night Sorrow's body had exceeded his realm, but it was still within the same realm. It wasn't too bad. Now that he had surpassed one level, he had broken through that taboo line. That taboo line was the proof of using strength to prove one's Tao. Because soon Night Sorrow's realm would naturally increase due to the energy in his body. "How are you?" Night Sorrow looked at the heavenly concubine and asked. "I'm different from you. You have a lot of room for improvement. Right now, I can only cultivate a clone and walk the path of soul unification. This is the only way to increase my realm and also the only space." The heavenly concubine said. She was envious because in her era, it was very difficult to increase one's cultivation and realm. But now Night Sorrow and the people around him had their cultivation soared by leaps and bounds. Take it slow. It's not bad to absorb the origin energy like now and let your body's quality increase. Also, how's your clone nurturing going? Night Sorrow took out a jar of wine and handed it to the heavenly concubine. Then he sat down. The heavenly concubine and Wu Lingfei paid more attention to their daily lives. While Night Sorrow was stabilizing his cultivation in the clear sky pagoda, they had set up a tent and a tea table. "It's already formed. I just need some time. Seeing that the people at the same time as me have all reached the soul unification realm, there's no reason for me to fall behind," the heavenly concubine said. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. He knew that the heavenly concubine was a strong person. In a day in the real world, Wu Lingfei had cultivated for close to 2 months in a time acceleration of 50 times. After she had completely stabilized her realm, she came out. Why is the most important section. Hashtag. After your realm stabilizes, your cultivation won't be a problem. Just need to get used to it and settle down a bit. Then you can attempt the 9 Emperor Tribulation. The heavenly concubine said to Wu Lingfei. Thank you for guarding me." Wu Lingfei nodded at the heavenly concubine. After resting for a while, the 3 of them continued their journey. Night Sorrow's battle prowess was even more terrifying now that his physical strength had leveled up. He didn't even need to use Jin Qi to defeat opponents of the same level as him. He could just rely on his physical strength to defeat them. Among the 100 races of the celestial realm, there are quite a few divine beast clans with exceptional talents. Dragons, Chilants, white tigers, black tortoises, ice phoenixes, and so on. However, none of them can compare to Night Sorrow in terms of physical cultivation. Wu Lingfei sighed as she watched Night Sorrow kill a demon beast. There's no point in being envious. I believe that he has put in a lot of effort on this path. It must not have been easy, the heavenly concubine said. Although she didn't know the process, she could guess. No matter what method one used to cultivate the body, strengthening the flesh and bones was a painful process. After the battle, Night Sorrow collected the loot and returned to the 2 girls. "What are you talking about? He didn't even collect the spoils of war." "I'm talking about you. You're clearly a human, but your body is as strong as a demon beast," the heavenly concubine said. Yishang looked himself up and down. "Am I alright? I don't see anything wrong." The heavenly concubine smiled. "There's no problem on the outside, but there's something wrong with your bones." Shaking his head, Night Sorrow smiled and didn't explain. They were just casually chatting. If he took it seriously, there would be no point in continuing the conversation. As they advanced, Night Sorrow took on all the battles. The primordial annihilation slash had been perfectly integrated. Night Sorrow even had a vague feeling about the breakthrough of the limitless attribute. This was the benefit of breaking through the bottleneck of an absolute arts cultivation. It was actually similar to using strength to prove one's Tao. After Tran Hung returned to the heavenly desolate city, he was worried about the Scarlet Night Realm. After thinking about it, he felt that the Scarlet Night Realm was lacking in resources. Yu Qing might not have a treasure that could prevent divination. If he didn't have a treasure that could prevent divination, then the clairvoyant master could divine it. After greeting King Yo Wu and the Grand Elder, Tran Hung brought the clairvoyant master into the Scarlet Night Realm. The clairvoyant master arrived at the battlefield and began to divine. As expected, he divined Yu Qing's whereabouts. Yu Qing had already begun the path of possession. He was at the divine soul uniting realm of the tribulation of the 9 emperors. There was no possibility of reincarnation. He could only possess or reconstruct his body. He didn't have the resources to reconstruct his body, so possession was the only way. Tran Hung chased after him. He used the 9 dragons heaven and earth cauldron to envelop Yu Qing's possessed body. Then he killed Yu Qing completely. Without Yu Qing in the Scarlet Night Realm, the 100 races of the Celestial Realm were training and even surviving here. Tran Hung was not worried. Now, he was worried about whether Night Sorrow's group would be successful. This was related to the future fate of the Celestial Realm. After entering another Sumeru world, the heavenly concubine's expression changed as soon as she found her footing. What is that? Tarsal venomous ants. There is no way to defend against them. They are born to eat flesh and blood to survive. Our protective precept domains can be easily broken. Evil things. Let me try. Night Sorrow took a step forward. He remembered that when his body was cultivated to the essence Chi Wolf smoke level, ordinary venomous insects and snakes could not get close to him. Now, his body was many times stronger than before. He could definitely give it a try. Night Sorrow activated his own blood. Then, with heat and a suppressive presence, the blood air spread out in all directions. The heavenly concubine and Wu Lingfei looked at each other. They did not expect Night Sorrow's blood air to be so strong. Just the blood air alone was enough to create a substantial impact. Night Sorrow stood where he was like a little red sun. He blocked the tarsal venomous ants that had already surrounded the 3 of them. Fortunately, it is effective. We do not need to run. Night Sorrow activated his blood. He led Wu Lingfei and the heavenly concubine forward. It is no wonder your children are so talented. Your body has been cultivated to this level. Your genes and bloodline are better than some of the more talented races, the heavenly concubine said. You cannot use talent to erase their achievements. To be honest, those children have worked very hard. Night Sorrow smiled. His children's achievements and hard work were his pride. He also knew that the heavenly concubine was telling the truth. When he had children, he had already achieved something. Of course, his achievements were high and his bloodline power was strong. Yi Xiaoluo, Yi Lingxi, and Yi Xiaoke, who were born later, were more talented than Yi Qingyan and Yi Yujun. Night Sorrow moved forward, and the tarsal venomous ants fell back. Night Sorrow's body was releasing blood power. It suppressed them and they could not go forward. Restraint. Night Sorrow's blood air was full of yang power. It was the bane of the tarsal venomous ants. Night Sorrow, your body is a treasure. Your bones are holy bones and your blood is holy blood. If you use them to make pills, they will be the best ingredients, the heavenly concubine said. Chapter 22:31. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, the heavenly concubine and Wu Ling concubine both laughed. If he wasn't strong enough, then having a treasure would be a crime. However, Night Sorrow now had the ability to protect himself. In addition, Night Sorrow's connections and status had reached a certain level in the celestial realm. It could be said that no one had any ideas about Night Sorrow. As for the opponent, it didn't matter if Night Sorrow had a treasure or not. They were determined to kill him. For example, Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian wanted to cut Night Sorrow into pieces because Night Sorrow had ruined too many of their plans. In addition, Night Sorrow was also a flag of the celestial realm. Night Sorrow's fall was the fall of the celestial realm's human emperor. It was a huge blow to the morale of the celestial realm's 100 races. Seeing that Night Sorrow didn't say anything, the heavenly concubine said, "It's true that no one wants to touch you. However, what you just said was not a joke. If you break a finger and throw it out, then the world will be turned upside down. Countless cultivators will fight until their heads bleed. Injuries in battle are unavoidable, but I won't actively harm myself. My body, hair, and skin are from my parents. Cherishing myself is a form of respect for my parents and myself, Night Sorrow said. In the Demon Wing clan, the members of the clan develop themselves after reaching adulthood. They almost never stay with their parents. This is the difference from the celestial realm. Filial piety is also one of the celestial realm civilizations, the heavenly concubine said with some emotion. Weren't you the Demon Wing clan's enlightenment saint ancestor? You know about the celestial realm's filial piety civilization? Didn't you teach the Demon Wing clan? Night Sorrow asked, puzzled. I know about the celestial realm civilization. I also know that it is a very important civilization. However, it conflicts with the Demon Wing clan's customs. In the past, the Demon Wing clan members encouraged their descendants to become independent early. They didn't live with their parents, the heavenly concubine explained. The heavenly concubine explained. She was the holy ancestor of the Demon Wing clan, but she could not overturn the Demon Wing clan's own civilization. After hearing heavenly concubine's explanation, Night Sorrow understood the reasoning behind it. Night Sorrow urged his blood energy and essence energy to suppress the tarsal venomous ants. Without a single battle, they passed through the overlapping Sumeru space. In that overlapping space, the tarsal poisonous ants were the overlords. With them around, no other life could survive. Night Sorrow sat beside the tea table that the heavenly concubine had brought out, waiting to drink some tea. Yes, those things are small in size and quite strong themselves. It is very difficult for Tao domains and domains to suppress them. If one is surrounded by them, the outcome will be tragic. Not even bones will be left. Heavenly concubine described the horror of the tarsal venomous ants. Night Sorrow nodded. He was very impressed with the heavenly concubine's experience. That was her accumulation and foundation. It was very difficult for other cultivators to compare. After drinking a pot of tea and chatting for a while, Night Sorrow's group continued on their way. As they approached the world tree, the three of them became more and more excited. Advancing forward was unavoidable. Night Sorrow had mastered the primordial annihilation slash. He had a new goal, which was to evolve the reincarnation true dragon art to the same level as the primordial annihilation slash. It would evolve into a true forbidden technique. With the experience of cultivating the primordial annihilation slash, Night Sorrow's cultivation of the reincarnation true dragon art was very smooth. He wanted to cultivate the two forbidden attributes into absolute techniques. This way, even if his cultivation level didn't increase, his combat strength would increase significantly. Tran Hung and King Yo-Wu often looked for Lin Yun. Through Lin Yun's clones, they communicated with Wu Lingfei's clones to understand the situation of Night Sorrow's group. They had high hopes for Night Sorrow's group. Cultivating absolute techniques was of great help to Night Sorrow's cultivation level. As he advanced in battle, his cultivation level was getting closer and closer to the tribulation of the Five Kings. The main reason was that he could use his strength to prove his Tao. He could use his energy to push forward his cultivation level. Night Sorrow wanted his original body to cultivate his cultivation level and his clone to deal with the battle. However, in reality it was impossible. If the clone wasn't enveloped by the original body's soul power, it couldn't exist in the world of trees. Once, Night Sorrow's original body entered the clear sky pagoda to heal, and the clone was almost expelled. Why? Because the clone didn't have spirituality. Why was only the original body able to increase his cultivation level? Why was only the original body able to have children? It was because of spirituality. The original body's soul was the main soul. It had spirituality, but the clone didn't have any. The heavenly concubine and Wu Lingfei could exist in the world of trees because of their spirituality and their cultivation level. Night Sorrow relied on his merit Tao body to survive in the world of trees. However, spirituality was also a very important factor. Regardless of how good the spirituality was, it couldn't be zero. If there was no spirituality at all, then the merit Tao body would be useless. The world tree wouldn't allow any life forms without spirituality to get close. The battle clone and the original body advanced in the world of trees. Night Sorrow's 9 Realms clone was in the Heaven Sealing Hall, deducing the fusion cultivation of the reincarnation true dragon spell. The Medicine Valley of the 9 Realms world was undergoing a transformation. Gong Xian dealt with the Medicine Valley's affairs heavily. The families and affiliates of the Medicine Valley with bad records were all eliminated. No one was spared. Dai Tongtong's family, Lin Jingyi's family, and Tianyue Peak Master Jin Kan's family were the most severely punished. Hundreds of people from the 3 families were directly executed. In addition, the Medicine Valley's law enforcement team also appeared. The disciples of the Medicine Valley and the members of the affiliated forces of the Medicine Valley were all executed directly. 2x. Legit 2x, Gong Xian's ruthlessness caused some unrest, but most people in the Medicine Valley supported him. The three seniors, Xiang Tianding, Yu Yangyu, and Hua Yunpeng, supported him. Everyone in the Taishan Peak supported him. Under such circumstances, Gong Xian had the support of the seniors and the strength, so there was nothing he couldn't do. Valley Master, some of the families under Crepe Myrtle have been attacked this time. Can Junior Tang understand? Don't cause a rift between the two of you. Chu Lingxiao chatted with Gong Xian in the Elixir Cauldron Hall. The two of them used to have some estrangement because of Aoi, but that was a small matter. For thousands of years, the two of them had built a deep friendship. Chu Lingxiao supported and cooperated with Gong Xian's big moves in the Medicine Valley. I hope she can understand that we haven't been in contact all these years mainly because Crepe Myrtle went too far, Gong Xian said. He and Crepe Myrtle's Tang Chanshan had feelings for each other, but they hadn't developed much in the past few hundred years. Crepe Myrtle went too far because of those disappointing disciples of Crepe Myrtle. They are all her junior sisters, so it's difficult for her to deal with them. Yi Xiling entered the Elixir Cauldron Hall. Greetings, Uncle Master. Gong Xian and Chu Lingxiao both stood up and bowed. Valley Master, Deputy Valley Master, I'm here to ask for forgiveness. In retrospect, as an elder, I didn't do anything for the Medicine Valley. Instead, I made a mess of things, Yi Xiling said to Gong Xian and Chu Lingxiao. Gong Xian didn't say anything. Saying that Yi Xiling didn't do anything wrong? That would be against his conscience. However, if he were to blame her, Yi Xiling was his Uncle Master. Chu Lingxiao also had the same mentality. Respect was respect, but right or wrong was right or wrong. Chapter 2232. Thank you, Uncle Master. Gong Xian nodded. Regardless of whether Yi Xiling was right or wrong, he was still her Uncle Master. I will go to Danding Cliff and reflect on my mistakes for 300 years to wake myself up, Yi Xiling said and left. Chu Lingxiao sighed. Actually, there are some things that we can't do anything about. Everyone has feelings and there are times when they can't let go of their pride. Lin Jingyi was her favorite disciple and the one who went the most overboard. Now that the Crepe Myrtle matter has been resolved, Valley Master can talk to junior sister Tang. There are some issues that everyone can weigh in their hearts and distinguish between right and wrong. Thank you. I'll treat you to a drink some other day. Gong Xian cupped his hands at Chu Lingxiao. After Gong Xian left, Chu Lingxiao was still thinking. He mentioned this today because he felt that he shouldn't let some external factors affect his personal feelings. Back then, when he had a conflict with Aoi, his sister's relationship with Mo Chen had been delayed. He didn't want such a thing to happen to Gong Xian and Tang Chanshan. In the main hall of Crepe Myrtle, Tang Chanshan sat quietly in the main seat. She didn't look too good. She was aware of the big movements of the Medicine Valley. The law enforcement team had killed some members of Crepe Myrtle's subordinate families who had committed serious crimes and sent some facts and evidence to her. After seeing them, she was furious. The Lin family, they've really caused a lot of trouble. Tang Chanshan smiled bitterly. She loved Gong Xian very much. Gong Xian used to come to Crepe Myrtle often. Sometimes he would accompany her for an entire day. She understood Gong Xian's feelings. But gradually, Gong Xian stopped coming to Crepe Myrtle. At first, Tang Chanshan didn't understand, but she gradually understood that Gong Xian had some opinions about Crepe Myrtle. As the Valley Master, he didn't want to have too much to do with Crepe Myrtle. Although she was angry and annoyed, Tang Chanshan did not look for Gong Xian and the matter calmed down. Today, when she saw the information in her hands, she understood that as the peak leader, she did not manage the Crepe Myrtle well and made things difficult for Gong Xian. While Tang Chanshan was deep in thought, Gong Xian arrived. Valley Lord, you're here. Please take a seat. Crepe Myrtle's subordinate families have troubled you. Actually, if you had sent these over, Crepe Myrtle would have cleaned them up. Tang Chanshan invited Gong Xian to take a seat. Chanshan, that's not why I'm here. Today, I met Marshal Uncle Yi and understood some things. In the past, I felt that Crepe Myrtle's development was not good and you were somewhat responsible. At that time, I only saw the shortcomings of others and did not see myself. As the Valley Master of Crepe Myrtle, you did not do your part and neglected your duties. But as the Valley Master, am I not the same? I'm here to apologize. Gong Xian said. Tang Qianqian looked at Gong Xian in surprise. She never thought that Gong Xian, who had a strong scholarly air and a strong personality, would say such things to her. Besides, Qianqian was the name they used in private. I'm sorry. Gong Xian nodded seriously at Tang Qianqian. I thought you wouldn't come to Crepe Myrtle again. Tang Qianqian shook her head. Her eyes were filled with tears. She felt wronged. Of course not. If you don't mind, I'll come here often in the future. After I came back from the city in the sky last time, I decided to change my attitude. I can't mix my personal affairs with my sex affairs. Of course it depends on what you think. Gong Xian made his intentions clear. Tang Qianqian stood up and poured Gong Xian a cup of tea. You know what I think? I haven't changed all these years. Thank you for always being like this. It was my fault for not taking responsibility in the past. In the future, if there's anything difficult to handle in Crepe Myrtle Peak, just tell me in Ling Xiao, or hand it over to the Council of Elders. When you have time, the two of us can go out and relax and visit other places, Gong Xian said. I'm available anytime. When you have time, we can go to Castle in the Sky. I need to explain to Elder Knight. He's probably very disappointed in me. Tang Qianqian nodded. She knew why Gong Xian came. He was willing to face some things and also wanted to see if she had changed emotionally over the years. From her point of view, if she wanted to be with Gong Xian, then she had to consider the opinions of Gong Xian's junior brother and junior sister. I have time now. Gong Xian smiled and nodded. He was very happy that Tang Qianqian was the same from the beginning. When they saw Gong Xian and Tang Qianqian appear together in Castle in the Sky, Aoi and Yang Lei were very happy. They naturally understood the situation. Senior brother, senior sister Tang Night Sorrow is not here. I'll go and inform him. He'll probably be very happy. Yang Lei said with a smile. She and Aoi were happy for Gong Xian. Gong Xian was their senior brother. He was like a father to them and had given them a lot of care in the past. #U Gong Xian didn't stand on ceremony and nodded with a smile. There were some things he wanted to let Night Sorrow know and also wanted to get Night Sorrow's blessings. Yang Lei arrived at 9 Regions City and went to the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall to call for Night Sorrow. What's the matter? Night Sorrow stopped his closed-door cultivation and directly appeared. He was a little worried because his family would never interrupt his cultivation for no reason. Don't worry, it's a good thing. Senior brother came to Castle in the Sky and brought a woman with him. Yang Lei said with a smile. This is a good thing. Let's go back. Night Sorrow's eyes lit up. Gong Xian was their senior brother and everyone was very concerned about his personal feelings. After returning to Castle in the Sky, Night Sorrow was stunned for a moment when he found that the woman with Gong Xian was Tang Qianqian. Tang Qianqian was the same as Gong Xian. They were both senior disciples of their respective peaks and had always been in contact with each other. It was normal for them to develop a relationship. Night Sorrow entered the mansion full of joy. Senior brother, senior sister Tang is here. Ninth senior sister, prepare a feast. You're back. Your senior sister Tang wants to come to Castle in the Sky. I also miss you. Gong Xian nodded with a smile. Greetings, Elder Yi. Tang Qianqian stood up and cupped her hands towards Night Sorrow. Senior sister Tang, please don't be like this. We are senior sister and junior brother here. I remember senior sister Tang called me 13 back then. Night Sorrow helped Tang Qianqian sit down. I really don't have the face to see you because of some things, but your senior brother said that sex are sex and individuals are individuals. We can't mix them together. That's why I came to see you, Tang Qianqian said. Yes, they can't be lumped together. Actually, if you put yourself in her shoes, senior sister Tang is a peak master, but she's also a senior sister. I can understand the difficulties involved, so let's not talk about these things, said Yishang. After letting go of the Medicine Valley, everyone chatted casually. Night Sorrow was really happy. Night Sorrow, Uncle Master Yi went to Danding Cliff to reflect on his mistakes for 300 years. What do you think about this? Gong Xian looked at Night Sorrow and asked. It's good to calm down first. It's good for one's development and improvement, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. Chapter 2233. I will. Eldest senior brother, senior sister Tang, please stay in Sky City for a few more days. It's been a long time since I drank and chatted with eldest senior brother. I really miss you guys, said Night Sorrow. All right. Others may be polite to you but I won't, said Gong Xian with a smile. Gong Xian said with a smile. He knew that Yi Shang was still the same as before. No matter how much his cultivation and status had improved, he still treated his fellow disciples the same way. In the world of trees, the heavenly concubine and Wu Lingfei were very puzzled because Night Sorrow was in high spirits. He even had a smile on his face. When Wu Lingfei asked, Yi Shang explained the situation to her. This is a good thing. Your eldest senior brother is the Valley Master of Medicine Valley. His personal matters are also important to the Eastern Profound region. When the time comes, Aunt Fei will have to attend his wedding, said Wu Lingfei with a smile. When the time comes, everyone will go. When the Medicine Valley returns to its original path, I'll feel relieved. I really don't want to see the Medicine Valley decline, said Night Sorrow. In fact, it wasn't just Night Sorrow who was happy. Yang Lei Aoi and the other fellow disciples were also very happy. In their hearts, Gong Xian was their most respected elder brother. In addition, everyone knew Tang Qianqian. She was a very gentle woman, very compatible with Gong Xian's calm personality. In the past, Crepe Myrtle didn't develop well because she valued her relationship with her fellow disciples too much. We will. Night Sorrow, let's talk about the matter at hand first. The Sumeru world we're currently in has increased in size. This is a sign that it's close to the world tree. This kind of world will produce more cultivators. Of course, there will also be more holy protectors of the world tree. The situation will be very complicated, said the heavenly concubine. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that the situation would become more and more complicated. The other three had also gained something. The world near the world tree was rich in spirit chi. There were already spirit stones and other high-grade materials. They were all rare treasures. Resources were secondary. The biggest gain for the three of them was their improvement, and it was a qualitative improvement. In the beginning, Night Sorrow was the only one fighting. Now that they were close to the world tree, the repulsive force had decreased. The heavenly concubine and Wu Ling concubine could also fight. However, the heavenly concubine's cultivation was below the tribulation of the 7 emperors. She felt that if she surpassed this limit, she might be expelled. This was also what Night Sorrow wanted. If they couldn't get close to the world tree, the heavenly concubine would be expelled. That would be a wasted trip. During the battle, Night Sorrow was always at the front. He was not afraid of the repulsive force because his power of virtue could resist it. After another battle, Heavenly Concubine looked at Night Sorrow and said, Night Sorrow, this is a training ground for you. Your body's energy is still increasing. Night Sorrow nodded. In the past, my body's energy was limited by my soul's cultivation and couldn't increase. Ever since my body's cultivation broke through that line, it broke through the shackles and has been increasing. The progress is not bad. Looking at the smile on your face, I feel like you're showing off. Heavenly Concubine looked at Night Sorrow with disdain. I see blessings in your eyes. Thank you. Night Sorrow said with a smile. He knew that Heavenly Concubine was joking and wanted him to feel better. It's really easy to communicate with you because you understand. There's no need to worry about being misunderstood. Heavenly Concubine nodded. After entering another world, Night Sorrow and the other two looked at each other. They were shocked because the spirit energy in this spatial world had reached the level of mist. The mist flowed above the spatial world. It was full of spirit energy. This spatial world isn't big. There must be a reason why the spirit energy is so strong. Let's be careful and explore this space. We can't miss the opportunity. Heavenly Concubine said. Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei nodded. It was easy for high-level cultivators to appear in such a spatial world. It was also easy for great opportunities to appear. Tran Hung said that the world tree wasn't an adult, but it had existed for countless years. Because the world tree's growth cycle was slow, it could even be said to be thousands of cycles. It would only mature during the end of the celestial realm. According to this theory, the spatial world around the world tree had existed for a long time. With such rich spirit energy, it was normal for high-level cultivators to exist. The three of them advanced for half a day and arrived at the core of this spatial world. It was a grassland filled with spirit energy. Spirit-nurturing grass. It's a top alchemy material. It's a treasure that can nourish the soul. It's not used to replenish soul power but to strengthen the soul foundation. There are so many of them here. We're rich. Heavenly Concubine was very excited when she saw the misty grassland. Although I don't recognize this spirit grass, I can feel that the energy it contains is very strong. Night Sorrow said. Retreat. At this moment, the Heavenly Concubine shouted and pulled Night Sorrow and Concubine Wu away. Original 7C first, release. As soon as the three of them left, The place they were standing was blown to pieces. A man appeared. The man's energy was surging. He was a tribulation of 7 emperors. The man had been underground, so Night Sorrow and the other 2 didn't notice him. Heavenly Concubine's soul power was very strong. She felt the energy fluctuation and didn't get ambushed. Seeing Night Sorrow and the other 2 retreat, the man didn't care about anything else. He directly attacked Night Sorrow and the other 2. Why aren't the creatures here afraid of death? Heavenly Concubine was a little depressed. She could easily kill a tribulation of 7 emperors outside, but she couldn't do it here because she couldn't use her full strength. Seeing the man charge over, Night Sorrow's body flashed and blocked in front of Heavenly Concubine. He knew that Heavenly Concubine couldn't take the violent attack head-on. If the energy impact was too strong, she would be expelled. Night Sorrow's energy and true chi cultivation was enough to fight a tribulation of 7 emperors. He was at a disadvantage, but because of his tyrannical body, he wasn't injured. Night Sorrow fought head-on with the opponent. Heavenly Concubine protected Wu Lingfei behind her while observing the opponent. She found that the middle-aged man had a row of bone spikes on his back and his eyes were filled with flames. Night Sorrow, he's a demon beast flame lizard. Be careful of his flame attack, it can burn your soul. Heavenly Concubine saw through the middle-aged man and shouted to Night Sorrow. So what if I know? You guys are destined to be unlucky here. If you dare to use your full strength, you will be expelled. The 2 of them won't even have the chance to be expelled. After the flame lizard roared, flames shot out from its eyes. It wrapped around Night Sorrow with its black core flame. Shameless boasting. Even if you want to boast, you have to see strength. Night Sorrow's killing intent rose. Not only did this flame lizard sneak attack him, but it also wanted to kill him and Wu Lingfei. He naturally wouldn't let it live. As for the flame lizard situation, it was possible that he couldn't win. When Heavenly Concubine was being expelled, because of her high cultivation, the flame lizard couldn't control or harm her. However, Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei were being expelled. He could use energy to pull and attack. After the killing intent rose, Night Sorrow's doppelganger appeared and attacked the flame lizard with his main body. They used a different attribute secret art. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.